3v3.
Everfrog Esports trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. We're gonna see flag. See White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
Beast Mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna give themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga Fort is hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Post bomb's gonna stick onto Leaky. You're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the day. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio. That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3. Melophobia started the fight. They'll end the fight. Oh my god. Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy, popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The fourth one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to CGL, where we have ourselves an elimination match here in the EU Open Bracket. And these two teams coming into the playoffs probably did not expect to be at this moment so soon, but yet here they are now. It is SkyFlock taking on Cartel, the number 1 and number 2 seeds from that first group. Well, they both find themselves here in that lower bracket now. I'm joined here by Mega Ninja. Mega, how are you doing here tonight, man?
I'm doing really well. I'm super excited to get into this match. I've casted the Open Division before, and I talked to multiple teams about how nervous they were about some of these teams that we're going to be casting today. They were really afraid of facing them in the upper bracket, but now here we are in the lower bracket, and one of these top 2 teams are going to be going home. So a little bit of a daunting challenge for these 2 teams, and I'm hoping to get some really good Overwatch between these players.
Yeah, a lot of action expected in this one, like we've already said. Top two seeds from that first group here in the EU Open Division. However, there's going to be a lot of other action going on throughout the day here at CGL. Well, granted, it's already night here in the EU. Doesn't mean across the pond here in the NA we won't have more action later tonight. 9 a.m. EST, you'll have Diva taking on Vesuvius. 10 p.m., you'll have Hashira taking on Lindenwood Academy. Those should be 2 really, really good games. However, because of how close they are in time, probably expect one to be on CGL 1 and the other one to be streamed on CGL 2. But still, focusing back in on SkyFlock and Cartel here tonight. We already mentioned it, in a lower bracket here right now, to a spot that I don't think neither of these teams expected to be in this early on. And Cartel won handily against Avoid List in that first round, but they lose the Lightning in that second round very handily by them. 3-0 victory for Lightning. SkyFlock, on the other hand, got upset by DCMR there, and then was able to beat EMC Chimera to get back into this lower round 2 here, but still a tough matchup for them. A lot earlier on than they expected, probably.
Yeah, I do believe that the OCMR, or it is OCMR, I believe. They did get taken down by the T4 Demons in the upper bracket. So they went against a Void List earlier on, and so whoever wins this one is going to be going against a Void List, I believe. Cartel have already handed them their own rear ends, taking them in a 3-0 earlier on in the round 1 for the top bracket. But SkyFlock definitely did not expect it to be in this bottom tier already so incredibly fast. So no matter what the outcome of today is, some upset is going to be coming through, as one of these teams is going to be eliminated off of this game in the series.
Yeah, and I mean, if you just look back at these two teams' regular seasons, I mean, they have a combined 7 losses throughout the entire regular season. Hell, only one of those 7 losses is for SkyFlock, who almost had a perfect regular season run there for themselves here. But still, this should be a really good matchup here, back and forth. And right now, with the meta kind of being a little bit all over the place. Yeah, you have some specialty stuff coming out here like that Cat Bastion combo, but you still see a lot of people kind of run those traditional comps here. However, like I said, it's a little bit all over the place. You have some flexibility, especially for teams in this open tier. I feel like you're going to see a lot of teams kind of gravitate towards finding something that's unique to them.
Yeah, there has been a lot of shakeup in the meta. Before, I would say there is, the Zarya Vendetta composition. I mean, despite whatever meta changes are happening to the DPS and to the tank line, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on what you play, the support line is probably going to be the same throughout all of time and existence, because it is just a Kiri Lucio meta, Kiri Lucio world, and we're just living in it. Unless one of those bans comes through from one of these teams, then your backline will get changed up a little bit. Maybe you go like a Bap Lucio or a Juno Brig. There's other combinations, but if Kiri Lucio is available, then most of the time it will be chosen, unfortunately, or again, fortunately. So, the meta has definitely shifted around a little bit in terms of that tank and that DPS. I've been seeing a lot of... Okay, I don't know if you've been seeing this, but I have been seeing a lot of Onron, which I think is incredible if it's true, because watching Onron play is incredibly interesting and fun to watch. So maybe we'll be seeing that instead of the Tracer from some of these teams if they've been practicing it.
I saw a little bit of Onron at the Overwatch Collegiate this past weekend, but outside that, I really haven't seen much of it here. I think a lot of people, a lot of teams, and a lot of players probably still look at Onron as not necessarily the strongest. You're just watching someone who played Onron, maybe one of the best flex DPS players, maybe in the region there right now for those two teams there. But, however, much like every series, we have to get started with a map here, and well, if you've been watching the playoffs here for a little bit, you kind of know what the map pool is, and you will not be surprised that our first map of the night is going to be Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, Lijiang Tower is just always the option. I think at some point I'd like to wonder if there are other maps in this map pool in terms of control, but I mean, most of the time it is just Lijiang that we do see. So we'll definitely, be seeing this come through probably also tonight as well. The other options just not as often chosen, definitely not as popular as Lijiang. But there are a lot of compositions that people are allowed to play whenever they are on Lijiang. So hopefully we see some diversity here. Could see that D.Va come back out into play. I've seen a little bit of Hazard also, but it does kind of determine about the bans. I don't know if these teams have done their research on each other, or we'll have to find out, of course, when we get into our ban phase.
I mean, just going based off of these two teams have definitely played each other once, and it was very recently, Week 8, final game of the regular season. Both these two teams went into that game undefeated, and it was SkyFlock that came out on top of that one in a 3-0 sweep. And granted, that was about almost 4 weeks to the day right now ago, but still very recently when you look at everything.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to find out, of course. We're gonna have to find out, of course, what the bans are. I'm trying to think about what typically could be taken out here. I like to think of this first round as kind of a feeler pick, right? You kind of just take something strong off the table and kind of see how the enemy team reacts to it. Maybe you get rid of the Zarya, maybe you can get rid of the Pharah. I know Pharah is incredibly strong on Lijiang. Maybe the D.Va ban comes out. I don't think you'll look at either of the supports. You could, definitely. Not to say that's not an option, but it most of the time is a tank or a DPS taken off of the board first. Unless they did the research and they know that maybe a player on the enemy team favors an off-meta pick. But the Tracer is going to be the first to be taken off the board from Cartel here. Really, I think a solid choice in terms of that flex DPS slot. Tracer, one of the strongest flex DPS of all time, and especially right now. So not having that Tracer on the board is definitely going to make it a little interesting in that flex DPS spot.
Oh, it really is. It's going to force you out some really interesting kind of playstyles. Do you get something like the Venture? Do you see something like the Onron we were talking about? Does Vendetta come back into play right now? I mean, if you're going to try to make sure that you don't necessarily see that much Vendetta, maybe you see a Zarya ban come out here from SkyFlock, or they go off to the support line, but it's going to be... Or just going back to that DPS line here, Genji could still definitely be played here. You have options right now. Hell, you can even play the Bastion if you want. Like I said, that Cat Bastion kind of combo is coming into a light on its own right now, which could be very, very strong. But still waiting on SkyFlock's ban to come in here. Like I said, don't want to see that Vendetta. You could get rid of the Zarya here. That does leave open D.Va and Ramatra and maybe even Orisa on this map, and potentially the Hazard as well. Like you said, Hazard's got a lot more play here recently. But I feel like getting rid of the Tracer, though, is just a very smart and safe ban, honestly, from Cartel.
Yeah, I do think it is smart. It's dipping their toes in the water, just making sure that they can kind of figure out what strengths come through from the side of SkyFlock without really getting rid of an important ban. It is a little difficult because if they do have a strong tracer, we will definitely be able to find out in the second map. But they've made their choice, made their decision. As we're just waiting from the ban from SkyFlock here, you can only look at the tanks or the supports. So I would probably be looking at that tank. Maybe you take. I've been seeing a lot of Orisa also, but that one might be a little bit of a more niche pick. Ball is typically an option. There's a lot of tank versatility that is around right now. Like you can look at most of the tank roster and it's been played at some point or another, whether it be collegiate or OWCS or here in CGL. Yes, I might have watched Onron get played by NCSU during the collegiate championships. I gotta root for my school. But no, I think in tanks, a lot of Diva, Hazard, Ball if you have it on you, Ramatra on occasion. I've seen a little bit of Mauga. So it's kind of all over the place in terms of what you want to run with that tank. But that Cat Bastion, if you're going to run that Cat Bastion, then typically you want to run like a Diva with it. Maybe a Zarya to give bubbles. But okay, the Zarya is going to be taken off of the board here. So we're not going to be able to see any Zarya bubbling their flex DPS for this first map.
Yeah, and like I said, I think banning out the Zarya here kind of forces out that you really can't play the Vendetta here. Yeah, Vendetta did get buffed here again recently, but it's just a slight HP buff. However, that does make Vendetta a little bit more usable. Getting rid of the Zarya, though, kind of leaves Vendetta in a spot where they are very, very vulnerable if they overextend themselves just a little bit too far here. So I like this ban now from both teams. I mean, the Tracer ban, I think a very safe ban. I think the Zarya ban is a very targeted ban just to make sure you don't see that Zarya Vendetta come out here early on for at least in this first map, where especially Li Jiang, you can find a lot of value off it here. But we know what the map is, we know what the bans are. Let's get on to our lineups here. First off with SkyFlock, the winner of this matchup the last time these two teams face off. Nuke and Monk gonna be your DPS line. Galaxy your tank. Eric and Izui, I'm probably saying that wrong, my bad, as your support line here. Again, they went undefeated in the regular season for a reason. This is a very, very good team here. Being down here in this lower bracket is something they are probably not happy to be a part of already. So they're looking to get some revenge up against a team they've already been once this season.
Yeah, next we're going to look at that Cartel lineup. Very, very strong lineup here, as we are going to take a look at them real quick. Cartel, we do see here Redmaster and Fever on that support line. I believe it is Shuyuji on the tank, and then of course as Tiaglini, I believe, on the tracer, and then Magister on that Ashe. Of course, I don't really like to take their preferred heroes as at face value, because a lot of the times preferred heroes over what's good sometimes clash. I mean, I don't think we'll be seeing the Domina here. Definitely could, of course, but this is going to be your lineup here. Both of these teams, they don't really have a lot in terms of what's on the bench. I mean, both of these teams are around 6 players deep, so this is probably what we will be seeing for the entirety of the time.
Looks like less Mora as well. Yep. Yeah, I don't know how much Cartel Mega talked about here, but again, a really good lineup here. Only lost 1 game in the regular season to SkyFlock, looking to get a little bit of revenge here, especially as their season lives are on the line here now. We've met the teams, we know the bands, we know the map. We'll be getting into the map here very, very soon to start off this elimination series against these two teams here tonight. And it looks like, oh god, that's not a good thing to be seeing in the Discord. But like I said, series will get started here in a brief moment, but for the time being, yeah, we're having some technical difficulties on our end. We're gonna throw it over to a quick break. We'll come back once everything's solved and get started with SkyFlock versus Cartel. So everyone stick around. We'll be right back.
Here, you get an insight and you know something, but but you don't want to say it out loud because you're kind of afraid that it's not going to be really true and he'll spoil the whole thing for you, you know? But when somebody makes you say it, then, and it's true, then it just makes it more beautiful of a thing.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We believe we have solved all the problems here with internet and stuff. So we'll be getting started with our series between SkyFlock and Cartel here in a brief moment. Again, first map going to be Lijiang Tower here. Tracer and Zarya banned out here. Mega, what does this necessarily make you think we're going to end up seeing here, especially on a map like Lijiang where it's been in the game so long? I always say it's one of those maps that you could really play any kind of competition on if your team is very, very confident in it.
You know, I think that the Zarya ban, taking one of those really powerful beams off of the board, allow certain kind of certain really greedy compositions to be played from both of these teams. I think that there's a case for that D.Va to come out. I think the D.Va getting countered by that Zarya, no longer an option on the table. Probably going to be seeing a little bit of playtime. I have seen teams also run Orisa on this Lijiang Tower, so technically could see that. It is a little bit more of like a, like I'd say like D.Va's like S tier, and I'd put like Orisa like probably like B tier or something like that. So like there is a world in which Orisa is run, but I don't know if it's gonna be all too likely that we see them. But with the Zarya off the board, I think it is definitely a possibility. With the Tracer off the board, I think in terms of flex DPS, we'll probably be seeing Genji, could see some Vendetta. It's going to be really difficult with the Zarya on your side, but we'll have to find out here as we're just... it is going to be interesting. Of course, we'll probably, I say probably, we'll definitely be seeing Kiri Lucio in that back line. And in terms of the hit scan, I'd probably say Soj or Emre, probably your top picks for hit scan here, but we'll have to find out as, again, here are our lineups going into this engagement. I'm really excited for this one, and I'm interested to see what kind of comps they roll out on.
Yeah, it should be really fun to see what they come out of here with. I mean, Kiri Lucio, like you said, kind of to be expected here, but we have seen Muyang, we have seen Brig, we have seen a lot of other supports start to kind of poke their head up here and there in the meta. Yeah, Kiri Lucio is still very strong, but there is room for other support heroes to be played. But looks like we're going to be starting off here on Night Market of Lijiang. And I mean, hey, I think this is a really good map to open up on. It's one of the more open maps, but still, this is a map where if you're expecting to see the Pharah, this would be the map to see it. However, you're seeing both teams kind of at the moment shy away from that. Instead, you see dive from one, and do we expect to see this Rhine stick from the other?
You know, no. We're gonna be seeing the D.Va mirror. Both teams are going to be running that Sojourn. This is a complete mirror, except for that Reaper from the side of Cartel here. We'll have to see how that performs, but both these teams just going to TP out of spawn, just because of that instant speed, but then swapping over the Reaper. So just a complete mirror matchup. Kind of unexpected to see the Reaper come through, but they do a lot of output in terms of damage, so definitely a strong option. We'll have to find out how it plays out.
Yeah, Reaper has also been another one of those flex DPS players that's getting a lot more play here as of late. And with the Tracer Band coming out on this map, it definitely makes a lot of sense. You see the two teams fighting in the food court area over here right now. Galaxy trying to build a lot of space here. Point is opening up, so it's going to be really interesting to see which one of these teams decides to try to rotate and drag this fight towards point. You see Nuke just immediately TP away, going towards point, and that's at least going to drag the rest of Cartel and SkyFlock over there. But both of them, though, still fighting on this outside. Now down support here. SkyFlock will have the backup, but they do have the first cap. However, Cartel going to go in very, very quickly.
Yeah, a really good play there from the side of SkyFlock to kind of get onto the objective fast, but then Cartel just going to rotate almost instantaneously in order to get the flip around, and so both of these teams not really going to be able to get a lot of percentage on the board as the fight's going to eventually take place on this objective.
Shu almost gets knocked down mech right there, but actually Zuya fighting Redmaster out with the boop, and now this looks like it's just going to be a cleanup kill and fight here for SkyFlock. Make it 3 kills there for Shu, as actually, no, they're going to be able to keep themselves on the map, but the rest of the team is cleaning up Cartel right now, and SkyFlock gives up 21%, but you'll gladly take the first team fight victory.
Yeah, SkyFlock, a little bit of back and forth in terms of who had control of the objective. So Cartel did get 21% on the board. Look at the all charges, by the way, from both of these teams, really incredibly fast. I mean, there's already a rush on the side of SkyFlock. They can go early with this if they absolutely want to, just to win out another team fight.
And look where everyone's playing right now for Cartel. Very dangerously on that side of the map. However, no boop can come out from Zuya to get everything going here. Consumer Rush now out there from Eric as they're trying to get everything going on points. Could be Zuya finding another boop kill onto Magister right there, as that is not how we saw this off this fight for Cartel. The beat now coming out here from Redmaster. Zuya, even with all these kills, does not have their own beat to respond with just yet. You're looking at SkyFlock right now, a lot of low health bars. Galaxy gonna have to invest the bomb here just to keep themselves alive. The TP from Tigolini gonna be able to keep them alive. Fever now responds back with their own Katsu. There's the beat from Zuya as they focus in immediately on that backline. Gonna change their sights over to Magic. The overclock from Monk. Gonna be able to find one, gonna let that bomb go away. Comes out, peeks the corner, finds a second one. And SkyFlock, again, they'll give up about 16%. And Monk gonna be able to end the map here, or end the fight here with 3, make it 4.
Yeah, but Cartel's doing a really good job of just kind of forcing the objective to be flipped, and so both these teams not going to have support ults, and actually going to be pretty even. Both teams going to have this Reaper ult online, but it's going to be so difficult with both of these teams on the D.Va. You can't really find a lot of value with it. The overclock could force out a lot of that DM usage, so you could try to utilize that first to force a lot of the DM to be, you know, not in stock. But we'll have to find out as Cartel. I mean, they're going to open up with a nice pick onto that Lucio. That's going to make them a lot slower and a lot more capable.
Yeah, I think right now, if you're SkyFlock, unless you find the next pick here, you are basically just playing the stall at this point as long as you can. Nuke gonna run away with the only ultimate on the board for now for SkyFlock at the moment, but the overclock comes out for Match. Not gonna be able to find one. They do find Monk after Dead Blossom now coming out from Nuke. Just gonna be eaten up by that defense matrix there from Shu, but still, it is Cartel in control of the point. You do find Redmaster now. Look at what that does for SkyFlock. Immediately just go on the aggression, fighting one. Not gonna be able to find the third one just yet, but eventually they will. Shu will be able to take care of one, but Galaxy finds Fever, and now the D-Mech is there. SkyFlock, ooh, maybe a little bit of a quick kill there for Monk, but it's going to be SkyFlock back in control. Does Cartel even get a touch back here?
They could, maybe, if the Reaper gets there fast enough, but no, it does, maybe. Their D.Va might have Fly available, so barely gets a touch here, unless the boop is good. But no, they're going to be able to touch in time, and so Cartel going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage. They have to build up their support ults incredibly fast, or else this Reaper ult has to go massive.
And I mean, it's going to be Monk finding Red, Shu getting booped off the map there by Zuya, who's been able to find so much. Death Blossom does find Zuya, but eventually they will probably get themselves taken out here right now. Once that Ray form goes away, Galaxy just going to bowl over them with those rockets. And SkyFlock going to take the first point here of this map.
Yeah, just really good plays there. Like, Cartel tried their best to just kind of force a flip and fight on the objective, but they kind of were just out of sync with it in their terms of their rotation. So every time they would go for a flip like that, they would lose a player or two before it could happen. And so it's going to be a little difficult if Cartel wants to keep doing that kind of style, especially with how they're utilizing their ults. I mean, yeah, like right there, they get the flip, but they've already lost 2 players in the engagement, so the flip is just going to not really matter in the long run, as you're just going to be able to get more percentage. You know, as as stupid as it may sound, it is going to be just, you know, if you win a fight and have the point, it will matter more than if you just flip the point and then lose. So maybe a couple of substitution or swaps from Cartel, but it looks like they're going to be mirroring yet again, just this time with a Pharah.
Yeah, we kind of expected to maybe see the Pharah a little bit last point, but more freedom of movement here in the sky, especially on Gardens. The Pharah could find a lot of more value here. You're now looking at Monk on SkyFlock to be able to shut down Tia Golini here, because if you leave Tia alive long enough, they're going to be able to get a lot of burst damage and poke damage here as well. So you already kind of see him just doing a good job hovering above the sky here, focusing in now on Monk, who decides to turn tail on them. Tia barely gonna be able to get out right there, but it looks like SkyFlock gonna be able to take this first point here yet again.
Yeah, SkyFlock just doing a really good job, just kind of isolating one player of Cartel. As right now it looks like to be a rotate through White Room, and they need to go fast with this. As yeah, they can kind of get bodies on the objective, but I mean, just look at how much damage is getting outputted immediately. But that's a nice opening pick, but a W trade from SkyFlock is going to make this a little bit more interesting.
But you lose Eric early. However, that's not really going to mean much here, as it's immediately Cartel losing 2, make it 3. Nuke will eventually fall there as well, but still, it's now just SkyFlock cleaning up the engagement here. Shuyuji decides to jump off the map to regroup with their team a little bit faster there, but if you're SkyFlock, that fight went exactly how you wanted it to go.
Yeah, just a really clean fight from SkyFlock. Cartel just can't get in without taking too much poke damage. I think that Monk is doing a really good job just kind of shutting down whatever angle they want to go on. This Pharah has to provide a lot more value than it's currently doing. But you can find out here as we are approaching 50% and a couple ults coming online here, especially Galaxy with that bomb could be massive here, as it is essentially just a second life.
Yeah, I mean, you see them play a little bit more aggressively when they have these bombs ready to go here, because they know they have that remake opportunity, but they need to keep themselves safe as well, because you don't want to remake and find yourself in the spawn before that bomb goes off here. But still, SkyFlock, look what they're doing here. I think they're playing very good. They're actually forcing Cartel to try to bring this fight to point and really buying a lot of time here.
Yeah, just really doing a good job. I mean, as long as they stall the objective, they have the advantage. But the rush coming through from Fever is going to make things a little bit more difficult for SkyFlock to stay on the objective.
And this might be a moment where SkyFlock does give up the point here for a brief second. Let that Kitsune Rush go. You still have your own coming up here and your own beat. You're still in a good spot with ultimates. It's almost even across the board, but you really need to get rid of Tia Golini right there. Overclock coming out, and you do see Monk try to focus in on them. Beat coming out from the other side. Does not hit Tia Golini, but still, you're looking for some picks here right now if you are SkyFlock, and struggling to find him. However, Monk will eventually find Tia up there in the sky. Now just needs to clean up the rest of the fight here. Getting rid of Suyuji's a mech right there. I'm surprised they're actually not using the bomb, considering most of their team was still alive at the moment. But they lose them, they lose Fever, and last to go is going to be Matchster as they are going back to the spawn. And you look at that time back now, Mega, it's maybe a little bit too small for them.
Yeah, they need to win this fight, and then they can't really afford to lose anything else. I mean, this Barrage has to go absolutely insane, but this D.Va's doing a really good job just DMing all damage that is getting outputted right now. So, Cartel, I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a dire situation. They are going to be able to get a touch, but I mean, I don't know how well this fight's going to go for them. They have the advantage, but it could be messy.
Shuji does have this bomb ready to go, so they can just stay on point for as long as they can. Death Blossom, though, out from Nuke. Will find Matchster. So there goes one of those ultimates that they had ready to go right now. Monk does find Red again. They used to beat the last engagement. Now they're just trying to find anything you can here. Fever gets taken out early on. The Barrage comes out. Will find one, but they'll get taken out there by Eric. Now all they need to do is clean up the D.Va. Eric, I think, unfortunately, jumped off the map. I'm going to say in celebration, but they might have TP'd into the swimming pool right there.
That's going to be a really quick first map there for SkyFlock. I mean, just complete domination, honest to God. The D.Va did a lot of really good work, just kind of shutting down as much damage as physically possible. Just D.Va is still in a really strong meta spot right now, just kind of being able to shut down whoever they want to, just kind of choosing a character, flying directly at them in a straight line, and getting the job done. So really good showing there from Galaxy and from the rest of SkyFlock. As a Cartel now, gonna be a little bit of an interesting situation. They get first ban and they get map selection. Cannot go control, but maybe they have to look at maybe taking this D.Va off of the board.
Yeah, and you have to remember, these two teams have already met up once this season, and it was a 3-0 victory for SkyFlock, so they're definitely trying to make sure that that does not happen again here for them at the moment. And SkyFlock, I mean, you got off to the exact start you were looking for here. I think banning out the Zarya was a really smart move by them, just making sure that, like, hey, that Zarya Venetacom might be something that Cartel runs on this map. Get rid of that Zarya. Force this mirror match here, especially with the Reaper for the longest time, which we saw Nuke find a lot more value on it. Tigolini did make the swap over to the Pharah on the second point here, and I thought it would work out a lot better for them, but there wasn't that follow-up on a lot of the burst damage that they were providing there a lot of the times, just because it seemed like everyone for SkyFlock was doing a good job of just calling out where Tigolini was that entire time.
Yeah, I was just for my own
Galaxy
research.
never died.
Galaxy never died. Average diva experience. That is gonna be. I don't. There's not much to say in terms of analyzation. I do think that Cartel just kind of got I hate to be crude with it, a little mopped, a little dog walked, as it didn't really feel all too close. I mean, Eric did die twice. Zuya died 3 times. That's pretty cool. But I mean, it's just you're gonna have to play a little bit differently if you are gonna change something up. I mean, Redmaster got more healing than their counterpart on the SkyFlock, so that's a positive to be looking at. But it is going to be a little bit of going back to that the drawing board and going back to the planning phase. And now they get a map selection and a first ban. That's going to be so crucial. But they need to get something changed. Otherwise, I mean, this could be another quick 3-0.
And they're trying to make sure that doesn't happen here. One quick thing I wanted to point out there with those stats. I believe there's 8 deaths across the board there for SkyFlock. Yeah, I think you saw the majority of the players on Cartel had 8 deaths as individual players. But hey, you let that map go. Moving on to the next map here, and we do know what it is. And I mean, I always like to make the joke that if you were to predict a map series or the series map in order, you would probably go Lijiang, King's Row, and then probably Saravaso would be the next one here. But King's Row is going to be our second map of the night here. Cartel picks it. They have first ban as well. And what do you see them going after here? Do you see them going after something like the DPS line again? Do you want to get rid of that D.Va? Because, again, we did not see a single death from the D.Va for SkyFlock that entire round. Or do you go after the support line here? Get rid of the Kira. Get rid of the Lucio here. What are you looking at right now for Cartel?
I think if I'm Cartel, I have to take the D.Va on the board. I think Galaxy going 25-0 sends a clear message. Just being able to shut down every single thing that Cartel had to throw at them, it makes it a no-brainer. I think that the D.Va has to be taken off of the board here. I don't really see any other... Because you were mirrored in every single other situation. I don't think you'll be looking at your supports. I think your supports did fine. Maybe... Now that Tracer's back on the...
Don't hate it. I don't hate this ban. I mean, this has been a hero that I think a lot of people, especially this past weekend in the collegiate tournament, I think a lot of people were starting to figure out, like, Yari's actually in a really good spot right now, able to do a lot of damage, especially on a map like King's Row, where you can have multiple angles being taken on the defense side. Having essentially not a pseudo third DPS out there is huge. So getting rid of the Yari is big, I think, and you're okay forcing out that Kiri Lucio playstyle.
Yeah, I do think that Alari is in a strong spot right at the current moment. I think they are a really good poke support, but I don't know if I love it on a map like King's Row, as a SkyFlock going to be banning out the Emre there. Didn't really get to talk about their thought process all too much, but I mean, you force that hit scan back over to that Soj mirror that I think you were winning out. It is a smart move. I think Emre is an incredibly strong hit scan in the current meta. Just being able to, pop people instantaneously with like a double click and then just a grenade from across the map. Override Protocol is super strong ultimate ability, especially if there's no beat on the enemy side or there's no Suzu. So definitely a good hit scan ban there if you are going to try to force that Soj mirror yet again. The Alari ban is... I'll have to find out. Like, I might have to see if I like the Alari on King's Row, if I do get to watch another King's Row with an Alari in. But I don't think there's any reason why you don't just run the Kiri Lucio anyways. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but what do I know, right? That's the real point I'm trying to get to here.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the thing: we're talking about Yari being in this really good state right now, and why we could see it finding a lot of value on this map. It might also just be a protection ban coming out here from Cartel, making sure that they're not losing that backline. of that Lucio Kiri here, because it might be vitally important for them. That might be the only reason we're seeing this ban come out here. Not because, and just for that, it's a protection. Like, you're getting rid of Iari, you could see Iari being played on this map, but you still have that Kiri Lucio there, so that might be the reason for that. The Emre ban, like you said, I think you called it right. You're okay taking that Soj mirror. It was working out for you very well last map. Emre still in a strong spot, but I feel like we start to see a lot of teams kind of shift away from the Emre, go back over to the Sojourn here as of late. So it's been something really fun to see, but Soj is always just one of those heroes that, because their movement, I think is always going to be kind of favored in a lot of compositions.
Yeah, and also while we were looking at the scoreboard, I did do my research because I thought the name sounded familiar, but Tiocolini was on Team Portugal. So is now actually going to be in the EMEA World Cup qualifiers. So congratulations to them if they're watching back this or whatever. But so I got to see them a little bit during the Conference Cup, and they did perform incredibly well. But they're going to have to perform even better. We do see a substitution in, as it is going to be. Oh, who got taken out?
Indra is coming in for Nuke.
Okay, for Nuke, right, yeah. Indra coming in for Nuke definitely makes me think that maybe that's their Tracer player who was taken off the board first. Now that there'll be a Tracer mirror here. Could be the situation as we're going to be getting into this map here. I'm hoping to see some Tracer here. I do like the Tracer ban. I think it's a smart ban, but I think it makes it a lot more interesting if you get to see some really stylish pulse bombs.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some great pulse bombs as of late. I've also seen a lot of duds just find nothing but the ground. But coming out of the gate here right now, I mean, it's not a surprise to see the D.Va come back out from Galaxy. 25-0, still doing the One Life Challenge in this series. Zuya, though, showing us the cat, I think is a very, very funny thing. But it looks like they're going to be sticking with it on the defensive side. On the other side, what do you think of Shuyuji, though, showing us the Wrecking Ball here, at least for the moment?
The Wrecking Ball is definitely more of a niche pick. It is something that you'd like to run. Okay, well, just never mind. As I was gonna say, that ball is something that you do. You baited me. You actually had me there for a moment there.
Hook, line, and sinker. You just took it.
You had me completely there for a moment. As we are gonna see the Zarya, and we're gonna have to find out. Are they gonna be bubbling their Tracer here? That's gonna. Oh, still on the Reaper. Oh, very interesting.
I don't hate it. I really don't. You have to remember when Zarya first got to be strong about 6 months ago. Who were they paired with? It was this Reaper that they were paired with a lot of the times. Because look, you already see them find Tiagolini, find Monk, who was a big problem in them last map at Galaxy. Immediately gonna find Redmaster out here again. So you'll take that trade right now if you're Cartel, because you're gonna have Redmaster come back in very, very quickly. Nice sleep though, as Tiagolini now has to basically play for their lives here as they're still chasing down Eric. But Galaxy gotta be able to find them. The cat though taken out, and now Galaxy just gonna have to throw themselves on the point. As it looks like Monk DC's here. Unfortunately, but I mean, you do see from this one image right here that Redmaster is coming back in, but it might honestly just to try to get their Zarya out of that situation.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult for the Zarya to try to stay alive here. I don't think they have any bubbles on them, so half HP, no shield, D.Va micro missiles in your face. I don't know if you live that, but we'll have to find out in just a couple of minutes, as we are going to wait to get our player back into the lobby. But I think right now it's looking really good for the side of SkyFlock. It is going to be a little interesting now that they are down their Sojourn, but I think they're looking good in terms of ult charge. I'm just taking a look really quickly.
I think they were playing Ashe before.
Were they on Ashe?
They were on Ashe before.
They were on Ashe?
Yes.
Okay, well then, never mind. I don't like the Ashe as much as I like the Sojourn. I mean, I guess Bob is a really, really good ultimate ability, but it is going to be a little bit harder to, you know, get out as easily, especially if like a Lucio speeds directly on you. Yes, you have Coach Gun, but it's not going to be nearly as good as Slides. And I think the amount of poke damage you get onto the Sojourn is a lot better. So maybe it was a tactical DC, and now they're going to come back on Soj. It's actually I'm thinking 5 steps ahead right now.
You might want to start backpedaling a little bit then.
Okay, alright, I'm back. No, I think the Ashe is a really good pick there. They're going to be losing that character, but they're going to be coming back here as they are going to be, I believe, in the lobby now. So we should be going right on back in whenever. But I think the Ashe is good on defense. I don't know how long you'll run it. Like, I think if you lose this first point, you probably do swap over to the Sojourn. But we'll have to find out here as the round is going to continue.
And it's going to be Matchstar actually coming right back in, finding Indra. And yeah, Monk can stick with this Ashe here for the brief moment, and you're really looking at Galaxy now to be able to buy a lot of time. Yuji, though, able to get out, able to play their life, and because of that, gets a tick off it as well, as Galaxy now has to play their life, has to play their mech. Cartel looking for a little bit more here. Dynamite, though, going to come in, land there on the Matchstar, going to force them back just for a brief moment, and it's only Shiyuji who's going to be the only person kind of poking up. And now again, Tagaolini going to be able to find Monk out yet again. There's tick number 2 online for Cartel, and honestly, I see more and more members of SkyFlock fall. I believe this is going to be them giving up this first point.
Yeah, it's not going to be as easy as that D.Va mirror was on Lijiang with that Zarya on the board, just kind of pressuring the D.Va out incredibly hard. Nice sleep there from the Ana, but it is not going to matter all too much, as I don't know if I love Galaxy on this D.Va now. You're going to have so much pressure thrown onto you with this beam. They're able to bubble Tagaolini, who's able to just TP up to that high ground, blow up Monk, and so now it's going to be a little bit of a maybe compositional swap here, especially if this next fight does go the way of Cartel.
The problem is Galaxy still has yet to die, so if they were going to make that swap, it would have to come out either in their first death or them actually running all the way back to the spawn here, which takes up a lot of time. Granted, that card hasn't really moved forward a lot here, and SkyFlock is rotating into a decent number of ultimates, but Cartel, they're about to have a lot of ultimates as well.
Yeah, you have to look at this Nano right from the side of Eric. It could go massive. As a Galaxy taken out of the mech, that's going to be devastating. And here's the Reaper ult. Oh,
nice
boop, so it's not going to be able to find as much value as he wanted it to. But it's going to be difficult for Galaxy out of the mech to make this a comparable fight. Well, that makes it a little easier.
Indra, though, going to be able to find their first pick here. Nano invested on the Galaxy here as they nanoed the baby D.Va to make sure they stayed alive here. They will get mech from it again, but Indra in the backline now starting to make work on this Tracer. Already 2 picks, looking for the third. Going to be able to find the third there, so 3K for them already this fight. And honestly, even just building up some charge in Shiyuji here is okay if you can find them out of this fight. Shiyuji, though, barely going to be able to get out with their life, and they keep all the charge.
Galaxy is actually they're actually trying. I think SkyFlock is trying their absolute best to make sure that it remains a deathless play here from Galaxy, as they're going to be able to re-engage, but this pulse bomb is available for Indra. This could be devastating here if it applies to the right person, but a lot of ults from the side of Cartel is going to make this scary for SkyFlock to win this out.
Almost going to be able to find Matchstar right there, but I believe the bubble onto Red Master saved them there for the brief moment. Look at Cartel, though. 4 ultimates online. Galaxy's so close to a bomb, trying to get healed up so they have the chance to get it before they get D-Mech, but no! 1% off. There's the Kitsu coming out now from Fever, and Cartel looking to casually just go through. There's death number 1 for Galaxy. Indra, though, falls as well, and this should be point number 2 going over to Cartel.
Yeah, really good plays there, and Cartel, they didn't have to use a lot, right? They just have the rush. SkyFlock has a lot on the board. Galaxy not going to swap over to that D.Va. Oh, that's a late pick. That's not great, as now you're going to be a little scared about this upcoming fight. It has to just kind of be the Bob that gets maybe the Lucio, and you force the beat out, but it's going to be really difficult for Cartel to lose this engagement. But SkyFlock have a lot, just not as many impactful ults as the side of Cartel. Oh.
This Ashe has really not worked out for Monk this entire round, even though I think it is a good pick, especially on the defense side. I just don't think you're getting the same value that you were getting from Monk, especially when you compare the last map on that Soj. Beat coming out there just in time to, I believe, save Fever. But if you're SkyFlock, you look at that time back right now, still just over 3.5 minutes on the clock. You need to win a team fight here. Beat out from Zuya to keep out this overclock from Master. The grab out will be able to find a couple. Galaxy does invest the Bob, and here comes the Bob as well from Monk. Going to be able to shut down Shiyuji here, and it looks like SkyFlock finally finds their at least stall point right now, but they really need to end up cleaning up the rest of Cartel here.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be so difficult here, as they are going to eventually find Fever, and Tagaolini going to try their absolute best to get out of dodge, and it's scary, 30 HP, but they're going to get bubbles to get out, as not going to be a bad fight to lose, as, oh, Pulse Bomb went out, not going to be able to find any kills, however, so it was expensive for SkyFlock. They used pretty much everything. You're going to have to pray your D.Va doesn't get demeched so that this Reaper ult doesn't get any value, or you need to have a boop online.
I mean, we saw the boop come online last time from Zuya, and it was a really big play for them there, because you have to remember, Galaxy was already demeched. That's why they kind of made the most known death blossom coming at them already, but they're doing a lot of damage to Galaxy up on this high ground, going to fall down. It actually gets a bubble right there, so you know one of the bubbles is gone right now for Cartel. Fever does have that Kitsu online here, but still, flanking off angles. You see them trying to find whatever they can. Kitsune now out there on the off angle. And if you're SkyFlock, just rotate away from this. Let this thing fade away. But you're going to be able to find Indra off it. So Cartel is going to go in now.
Yeah, it's really going to be difficult to back up from the side of SkyFlock, as they don't have a lot of space to give up. As there's a 0.4 meters, there's no Diva Bomb, and that is going to be a cap there for Cartel. A beat to celebrate from Redmaster as a really good attack from Cartel there, and I think something needs to change from SkyFlock. You know, I liked the Ashe on first point defense, but then I think you need to swap it up. I think you need to swap a couple things around. It's going to be difficult to play the Diva into this composition. I mean, you're just going to be under so much pressure all the time with this beam just constantly shredding your HP. So we'll have to find out, of course, if something does change from the side of SkyFlock, as Cartel would look completely different than how they did on Lijiang.
Yeah, again, we talked about the Zarya being banned out last map because we really expect to see that Zarya Vendetta comp come back out with the Tracer being banned, but I think we were mostly just seeing because Shuyuji has an incredible Zarya here. Applied a lot of pressure there to Galaxy, made them really struggle for the most part. And Galaxy, I mean, going over to the Zarya right now to match Shuyuji, but is it a little bit too late? Yeah, you still have a whole round to do, and I always say, like, hey, get rid of the time bank. You just have to complete the map right now if you're SkyFlock.
Yeah, completing the map is the most important thing. You need to make sure that also you get it above a minute, as that makes it so it's not an unlosable situation. You know, if it is an overtime situation cap in terms of SkyFlock, then it won't be a winnable map for them. It'll be a draw at the bare minimum. But Cartel, I mean, they are looking to just try to hold this defense as best as they can, as we are going to see Monk swap back over to that Soj, so a little bit of a better composition, in my personal opinion, for SkyFlock.
And Tiakolini, I mean, it was going to be a big question last round to see if the Reaper was going to be able to provide a lot of value and find a lot of picks. And I think they did just that, really making the Tracer ban not necessarily hurt them last map. And the Reaper just need to be something that stepped up. But Indra going to be able to find the first one here. Eric, though, immediately get traded out. Tiakolini, though, picking up right where they left off. And you are getting a little bit of a weird rotation here as Indra finds their second one. So even across the board. And now Galaxy is spinning their head trying to see where Tiakolini is. Not going to be able to find them. But still, it's actually SkyFlock coming out on top of this fight.
Yeah, it's just going to be up to Tiakolini trying their absolute best to get something done, but the Wraith has already been forced. The recall's also there, but this Reaper going to be taken off of the board. Eric just blows their head off with a kunai, as SkyFlock, despite a very messy fight, going to be able to get the job done. And look at this Pulse Bomb ult charge incredibly fast. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for Cartel to... it's going to be a little bit more difficult for SkyFlock to get as much value with the Tracer than they do with the Reaper, because, I mean, the Reaper is a much bigger known presence for those bubbles versus the Tracer, who's kind of like a flanker, not really seen all too often, tries to play their life. So the bubbles are going to be more effective on the Reaper than they are on that Tracer.
Oh, absolutely. Here, I mean, you're going to have to basically just say, okay, Indra, you have to go there and stand for a brief moment to get as much value as you would from the bubbles going on to the Tracer. Tiakolini, though, again, still causing a lot of problems here, as Indra also causing a lot of problems here for Cartel, has just been constantly a nuisance. Actually, the Suzu's out, so that Pulse Bomb could come out here from Indra very, very soon, knowing there's really nothing to counter it. However, they don't need to be able to find Magister right there, as that just is what you were looking for, that opening pick. Now you're in a good spot right here. Grab coming out. The beat, though, not going to be ready just yet. The Kitsune Rush coming out from Fever, not going to be able to do much in this fight for them, as everyone just going to fall by the wayside here and go to the next fight.
Yeah, really good fight there for SkyFlock. They did commit their grab, and so Cartel do have a massive advantage going into next. I mean, without a Diva to eat this Reaper ult, if they can get a grab connection onto a lot of players and then they pop that Reaper ult, that could just be a fight win for Cartel. But the objective is getting a lot of meterage on the board, as Galaxy, whoa, taking a little bit of too much damage there, and for my liking. This beat has to go massive here from Zuya, otherwise, I mean, this could go the way of Cartel.
Overclock out here now from Monk, who will find Magister before the beat comes out from them. Beat now out from Zuya as this grab comes out from Shuyuji. Not going to be able to find much. Goodbye and good night, Tiakolini. The Death Blossom not going to find anything right there, as Monk just shuts them down.
Was that an Ajax? No, it wasn't an Ajax. Okay,
no, it wasn't an Ajax, but this was a flick.
This was a very disgusting flick from the side of Monk, just kind of shutting everybody down. And so Cartel actually lose that engagement, and they popped a lot of ults to lose. Really not an outcome that you want from Cartel, as we are going to have 5 minutes on the time bank for SkyFlock. They can cap with even more time than Cartel did, despite their amazing attack.
Yeah, and I mean, at SkyFlock, it seemed like they figured everything out, and it might just be essentially the Ashe was the problem for them last round. I'm not gonna say that was the case. Pulse Bomb though finds sick, huge Suzu though from Fever to keep everyone alive right there, because that probably would have found 3. Considering much out though from Erica, be able to make sure that everyone from SkyFlock stays alive as they just keep this cart rolling. And look at where it is. It's already rounding the final turn.
Yeah, it's going to be so difficult as Galaxy going to be having another grab online. It's going to be so difficult for Cartel to deal with this. They don't have anything, and the more pressure that comes through, the better, as Magic are going to get another one onto Indra. That's a really good trade. Oh, that's going to be a grab. They think that's winnable.
It captures 4 in it, and I mean, you're going to be able to find 2 off it, but still, it's even across the boards. Tagolini going to be able to find Zuya there. Yeah, Indra is back into the fray, but Cartel's going to hold as far up as they possibly can here, and look at them now. Shuyuji going to have their grab ready to go here. Consumer Rush out from Fever right now, and SkyFlock just trying to hit those S keys as fast as they possibly can.
Yeah, it is going to be a little bit of a reset here for SkyFlock, and that grab getting committed was a little bit of... they thought it was winnable, and it was almost winnable, but unfortunately with Tagolini, it's just not. As now there's going to be an uncontested grab here, and there's no beat online, especially with Zuya getting taken down like that. That could be the go button for Cartel, and this could be even more time off the bank.
And I mean, you can kind of see Cartel maybe setting up for something big here. You're not that far away from a beat, not that far away from a Death Blossom, but Magister are going to be able to shut down Indra here, so that time bank we were praising SkyFlock for is slowly getting whittled away here now, Mega.
Yeah, you need to stabilize if you're SkyFlock. You can't allow anybody else to just get taken out randomly, as you're going to have a couple ults here. Cartel going to be able to mirror a lot of them, as it's going to be dangerous here as we do open with the rush from the side of SkyFlock.
You lose Indra, that's it though. Beat now coming out from Red Master, not going to be able to keep Tagolini up right now, but still, if you're Cartel, you're okay with how the trades are going right now. You're not SkyFlock's not pushing the cart. Actually, it is slowly rolling backwards at the moment. You need one more pick right now for SkyFlock to be able to open something up, but you might just have to wait for Indra to get back.
Yeah, right now just a lot of poking pressure, and Cartel understanding that is going to back up. They have a couple ults there as an overclock coming out from the side of SkyFlock. Monk. Oh!
There's the Death Blossom. No. Only going to be able to find one. Galaxy going to be able to find Ryuji, but Tagolini, after that Death Blossom, finds Galaxy right back out. So if you're Cartel, I think you're at least rest assured that if there is an overtime, you won't be attacking first now.
Okay, that was really cool from Cartel using that Death Blossom to shut down that overclock, but now here's the problem. SkyFlock have a grab online. I don't know if I like that swap over to the Ashe. We'll have to find out if they can build a bomb in time, but Cartel not going to have anything for this grab. They have, what, a rush? A rush doesn't do anything into this grab, so if Galaxy lands a huge grab here and there's enough damage, this could be massive.
But it doesn't matter if Magister's hitting shots like that. There's the grab coming out, Consignia Rush out as well, and oh my goodness, Zuya! A triple kill with a single boot, but Tagolini gonna come back and find 2 of their own. Now trying to find the 3rd. Huge plays coming out from both teams right now, but Cartel still coming out on top.
Yeah, just despite that grab going absolutely massive, is not going to be able to get the fight win, as it is just 2 players left from the side of Cartel, just this Reaper and the Zarya, but the rest of the team are going to be back. They have better spawns. SkyFlock going to be the swap over to that Hazard. I don't know if I love that. It feels a little bit like a desperation pick. I feel like you could just put Indra on that Reaper, but minute 23 left. There is not going to be any more all-charge being gained from the side of the Ashe, as it's probably just going to be another quick reset.
Talk about someone who's really stepped it up here in this last round, or this last point right now. That has been Magister. Always able to find early picks right now. Is forced SkyFlock several times to fall back and reset, and that's exactly what is happening right now. And Cartel is only building up to more and more ultimates as Monk makes another swap.
It's just, there's too much swaps happening. You're in panic mode right now, and you need to actually build some ults online as the grab's going to come here. Not bad, but not great either.
Oh, wait. If you can find Fever out here, that's a huge pick. They're going to be able to find them. Now they're chasing down Magister, who does have this overclock online, and now that's actually big. SkyFlock, I'm surprised Monk's not making a swap to get back here back with a quicker hero.
Yeah, it is going to be scary now, as the card is going to be moving. 30 seconds left on the clock, as SkyFlock going to be having 3 ults here. This downboard has to go absolutely massive. Cartel have responses, though. There's the beat, going to be utilized, going to connect onto a lot of players. Maybe they can burn out this beat, but it's going to be so difficult.
Indra's Pulse Bomb will be able to find Red Master. The beat did come out, landed onto a couple. Now Magister, time to shine with their overclock here. Finding one already, trying to find the second one right now. Shuyuji, though, very low on health, needs to be kept up alive here. They are vitally important. They're going to be able to find Zuya. Indra out as well. Magister now still trying to find anything they can. No one touching the cart as overtime. Getting it started here soon. Actually, no, I don't think it's going to start. No one was near the cart. Cartel going to take our second map of the series to even it up at 1.
already a better look than their last matchup, their last head-to-head. I mean, before it was a 3-0, but now Cartel have found the pieces to the puzzle. They are going to make it a 1-to-1 situation. A really good compositional swaps there. Just, you know, I was wrong. You know, having that Zarya in answer to the D.Va going to make Galaxy's life a lot harder. And some really good shots there from Magister and also from Monk. I mean, going to make this a little bit of an interesting series, as now it's going to be SkyFlock's turn to get that map selection and that first ban on the board. So hopefully we get to see maybe with the Zarya ban already off the board, it's going to be a little bit interesting to see how SkyFlock respond to this. I mean, maybe you try to take off the Reaper and force the Tracer Mirror, maybe?
I think that's what end up being what the case is here for SkyFlock. The Reaper's been the only thing that you guys haven't really played outside of that first point on Li Jiang. Actually, no, they played both points in Li Jiang. I mean, it's going to be difficult because the Reaper for them for Nuke did work out for SkyFlock a decent amount for them there. But I do think you are right. Getting rid of the Reaper here, it wouldn't be the worst idea for SkyFlock. But like another thing, like you said, this is now an even series. When these two teams met in Week 8, the final week of the regular season, it was a 3-0 sweep for SkyFlock. And, I mean, different stakes for this one here. Both those teams then knew they were locked into the playoffs. Both these teams now know, though, if they lose this one, their season's over.
Yeah, we do get to take a look at the scoreboard, and I mean, this one was a lot closer of a series. I mean, Galaxy 28-6, Shu Yuji 30-6, T Galini 30-7. I mean, this one looks ginormously different than what we saw from Li Jiang. I mean, Cartel definitely upped their game in between the maps. I don't know if it was just a compositional issue. It was, you know, not having that Tracer. Actually, they didn't even play Tracer. Was it really just the Zarya to counteract that D.Va that made all of the difference in the world?
I really do think it was, because Galaxy just immensely struggled that first round because I just think Shuji was able to do so much damage to them there. The defense matrix was not enough, and hey, the defense matrix cannot eat a beam. I think you are always just seeing them play very passively because if they over-aggress themselves too far, they're getting taken out of any fight.
Yeah, and also something that is a little interesting to find out is Zuya and Indra gonna both be at 10 deaths most in the lobby. You're gonna have to play a little bit more careful, especially into that Zarya. It's a lot more punishing when there is a 100 charge Zarya looking at you as you're trying to be a frog on the wall, but it doesn't really matter too much when you're just getting beamed with like 1 billion of your health getting taken off at the time. I mean, even a beat in play is gonna make things a little bit more difficult to survive, as you know, they're gonna have to play a little bit safer and a little bit differently, especially if they're gonna keep playing into that Zarya that cannot be taken off the board anymore.
It's gonna be very interesting to see what SkyFlock does here with our third map. But with that being the end of our second map, we're gonna throw it over to a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna have that third map ready to go for y'all. So everyone, stick around. We'll be right back. You're not gonna want to miss this. All right, we have ourselves a series now, ladies and gentlemen. It is 1-1 after Cartel wins dominantly on Kings Row over SkyFlock. And hey, we talked about before break a lot different array than how these two teams, when these two teams met the first time in the regular season, where it was a 3-0 victory for SkyFlock. Cartel, they figured something out that last map, but I think both me and you talked about there, Mega. It was really maybe just something of a compositional difference right there. That Zarya for Cartel was just a little bit too much for Galaxy on that D.Va to handle.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams played incredibly well. It is just the problem of playing the Zarya. Like, playing the D.Va into the Zarya is just so difficult to do. And then on their attack, they tried to mirror it, but they have a Tracer instead of a Reaper. So you're not going to get nearly as much charge as you need in order to mirror up into the D.Va, or into the Zarya, excuse me. So, you know, I think if you are the side of SkyFlock, maybe that Reaper is something that you have to take off the board if this composition is going to be something that Cartel want to keep running.
Yeah, and I think me and you kind of both said, like, the only way you're going to keep that Reaper there is most likely, probably for SkyFlock, is to bring back in Nuke, who played that Reaper that first map. Because I think with Nuke there, they did do a decent amount of job keeping Cartel's Reaper kind of in check there the entirety of that first map. But hey, we're talking about maps right now. Like I said, if you were to take a guess of what the first 3 maps would be, this would normally be where Servasa would fall in. Well, if you'd be wrong, because it's not Servasa. Instead, it's New Junk City. Reaper could still definitely be played here, could definitely find a lot of value, and it will be SkyFlock with the first ban when we get to that phase here. But New Junk City is a map that I feel like me and you have not seen in a little bit here, even though it's been in the map pool, I'm pretty sure, the entire season.
I feel like I might have done one New Junk City at one point, but yeah, no. In terms of Flashpoint, a lot of these teams do prefer Servasa over the other ones. Honestly, I think in terms of popularity, I would probably put New Junk City at the very bottom. I think Atlas has been seeing a lot more play time, but New Junk City is going to be a nice refresher for us to cast, and it is really beneficial for that Zarya Reaper composition. There's a couple more high grounds, but SkyFlock going to be able to get that ban first. I think maybe taking care of that Reaper. I know before Cartel banned out the Illari maybe as a protect ban, so maybe the SkyFlock can realize that and maybe go, okay, they want to keep running the Kiri Lucio. Let's take one of those off of the board. So if I had to make a guess, I would say the Kiri, the Lucio, or the Reaper is going to be a target here as just Reaper taken off the board for SkyFlock. I think it's a really strong option. It does force that Zarya to not have as great of target to bubble. You could go maybe the Vendetta, maybe mirror the Tracer, but it's going to be a little bit harder to get as much charge and be as dominant on that Zarya as with the Reaper.
And now Cartel's time to ban here. It's going to be really interesting to see where they go, because they could legitimately go after a support that you could potentially see here, even though I think both me and you heavily believe that it's just going to be Kiri Lucio here again. Or you could go after the tank line here and really get rid of the D.Va. Maybe force that mirror here again, because even though last map it seemed to be going back a little bit Galaxy's way that second round, they eventually swapped off it and over to the Hazard instead. So if you get rid of that D.Va, are you okay with seeing that Zarya ban here? Or that Zarya come back out?
Yeah, I think that it is going to be a situation in which you look at those tanks. Maybe you look at something that counters out that Zarya. Maybe the Ramatra ban. I do see. Okay, so Hazard is going to be the option. So it is going to kind of force them to either mirror the Zarya or play that D.Va into the Zarya, which is going to be a lot less of a good it's going to be difficult to play the D.Va into the Zarya. As I said before, the Hazard does play into the Zarya a little bit better, so taking that off the board, forcing either the Zarya mirror or the D.Va play is going to make things a little bit better for the side of Cartel.
Yep, I have to agree with you right there, but it doesn't look like any subs, so Nuke going to be staying on the bench right now for SkyFlock. Indra going to be staying in, like we kind of expected here. The Reaper being banned out. Nuke most likely was probably in that first map just to play the Reaper. So with the Reaper being banned out here, no reason for them to come back in just yet. Indra got better as that last map went on. I will say that started off a little bit slow, but we really started to see that Tracer wake up there. Tigolini, though, what do they go back over to? Do they go and show us their Tracer? Because remember, we've only seen them play Reaper and Pharah so far this series.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like they're going to be on the Tracer for now, and Galaxy going to be on that Ramatra. Like I said, if you're not comfortable on that Zarya mirror and the you're just going to probably have to play the Ramattra, right? You're going to have to try to shield as best as your ability and then, you know, block as much damage as possible from that Zarya, try to mitigate as much ult charge as possible. It's going to be a little bit difficult for Cartel to get as much charge with a Tracer over a Reaper like the issue was last time when SkyFlock was attacking on Kings. But definitely an interesting compositional swap here for SkyFlock as they're going to be going over to that Ramattra. We'll have to find out if that's the difference maker. Also, an Emre here from the side of Cartel.
You have to remember, Emre was banned out last map by, I believe, SkyFlock there. So you're seeing a little bit more targeted bans come out here that not necessarily making sense when we see them, but later on we're seeing why. Tigalini, though, almost gets taken out very, very early on right there. And that's the hero you don't really want to lose first, your Tracer, but it's not necessarily the worst case scenario. But Tigalini going to be able to get healed back up right now. And we're just going to see a little bit of the ring around the rosy kind of play style right here as both these teams fight on the high ground.
It's going to be really difficult for this Tracer mirror to be won by the side of SkyFlock. I mean, Tigalini going to have that bubble on standby whenever they do take that Tracer mirror, as Zuya going to be taken down first. Kind of ran in front of traffic, as it is going to be Cartel being in a 4v5 situation. They'll probably be able to get this first cap underway, as SkyFlock looking to just be okay with that, and another kill is going to pretty much put the nail in the coffin.
And Fever gonna be able to take care of Galaxy right there with a lot of help from Magista. But again, Izuya falling first there is not who you want to see fall. I think that's the worst case scenario outside of maybe Galaxy falling first for SkyFlock, because they're your speed in both these compositions. These Lucios are mightily important.
Yeah, your Lucio is probably the most important character of your composition. I mean, just being able to speed your Zarya wherever you need to go, or speed your Ramattra. So, you know, Zuya needs to play a little bit more careful. Can't be on those front lines as much as they may want to, especially into this Zarya composition.
Monk trying to find something there, at least gonna be able to force back Cartel for the brief moment. Nemesis form coming out now from Galaxy as they're trying to find anyone they can. Just charging up Yuji right now, who's getting a decent amount of healing off that. The override protocol coming out line from Magistra right now, and look at what that does to SkyFlock. Just evacuate the arena.
It's a great evacuation and a great kite, but Cartel have already made it to 80% and counting. They're going to come back in here with Eric on the rush, as they need to win this fight out, or else this first flashpoint is going to go the way of Cartel.
I mean, it's been so hard for SkyFlock to even necessarily get close to Cartel. You're seeing them get a little bit in now, but the bubbles from Suyuji have been huge for them so far. But eventually, the punches will be just a little bit too much there for him. Redmaster at least going to be able to find Izuya. The pulse bomb stick, though, finds Galaxy. And if you're Cartel, you can go in on this. The beat now coming out from Redmaster, as they definitely feel like they could still come out top. Tiagolini and Magistrat going to be able to find 2, potentially 3 right there as Fever shuts them down. And SkyFlock not going to be able to get back in time. And you already see some changes on the rise here for them.
Yeah, Galaxy going to go over to that Zarya, just saying, fine, we'll mirror the Zarya. But now you're going to be so behind an ult charge. I mean, you're going to be losing out on that ult. SkyFlock going to have that beat, going to have an OC, as Cartel really only have a grab and a rush of their own. Probably just going to be saving that beat for the grab, but they could go early enough here in order for it to make a difference, as Magister getting taken down first is going to be allowing things to go a little bit more their way, but Tigalini finding that another trade, that is Team Portugal's flex DPS, as it is going to be a 4v4 situation.
How is Suyuji still alive right now? They will eventually fall, but Tigalini going to be able to trade it out again. Galaxy then trades that one right back out. So SkyFlock has the numbers advantage right now, and they should get the first cap off of that just play right there. Great plays all around from them. I really think catching out Magistrat when they did was really, really vital for them.
Yeah, really good play to get onto Magister just immediately with that Zarya. You can't really pop those bubbles as an Emre. I guess you could kind of do it as a... Whoa, almost gets railed on the head, but not going to be taken off the board just yet, as a Cartel now going to be coming back with a lot of ults here, but the first cap going to go the way of SkyFlock.
Beat coming out from Izuya, not going to be able to keep Monk alive right now. However, SkyFlock going to keep going aggressively in. Redmaster almost taken out, but still not just yet. Shuji just trying to keep a lot of that pressure up. However, a lot of their team kind of away from them, so the bubble's only going to be going onto them. Continue out now from Tigalini, going to be able to find their counterpart in Indra, and you already see SkyFlock just kind of rotating out of the point as Cartel going to be able to take it.
Yeah, a really good play there from Cartel, just using that grab. Zuya's ult just a little late onto Monk, as they're going to be coming. SkyFlock going to be having everything at their advantage. It's going to be difficult for Cartel to win out this this next engagement. I mean, this override protocol has to go massive, and SkyFlock have to commit too much. If they pop all 4 of their ults, then Cartel can be in a lot of a better position.
Well, there's the grab. Going to be able to find one override protocol. Going to be the response here from Magistrat. Going to be able to shut down Izuya. Galaxy almost taken out as well, but they'll be able to get a health pack to keep themselves alive. But they're so far split up from the rest of their team that essentially SkyFlock playing without their tank at the moment. But it doesn't matter when your tank is essentially just a war machine here, as Galaxy finds 3. Now all they have to do is get rid of Tigalini, which they will, and they'll take the point right back.
Yeah, SkyFlock just played that perfectly well, only using that grab, and so they're going to have everything else on the board as Cartel. Going to be coming up on a beat, going to have their own pulse bomb as a... You're going to have to hope that you can pulse this overclock. Otherwise, I mean, this could be the flashpoint going the other way. Or Cartel can be like, okay, you guys can have this flashpoint, force a couple ults here, and then just try to go for that next flashpoint. That could be the play, but I mean, I think you want to fight for this.
You really do here right now, but you're looking at Tiagolini to probably be in the touch right now, unless it's going to be Shuji just walking in. No, that's actually going to be the beat. Pulse bomb coming out from Tiagolini, not going to be able to find the stick, as now you see the pulse bomb coming out from Intro, not going to be able to find anything, but these overclocks from Monk have been huge this entire series. One, make it to the point capped here for them. It will be evening up the series, or even on the map. Tiagolini, though, finds Azuya on the way out, but that will probably be the only thing. Actually, no, Shu gets one, but that'll be the only two picks that Cartel get this entire fight.
I mean, yeah, I liked the play there from Cartel. You force out ultimates from SkyFlock. I mean, they used everything there in order to keep the point alive, but you used your only two ults in order to pressure them like that. So it's going to be difficult for them to really kind of stabilize. I mean, it's just going to be, what, first ult coming online here is going to be a grab. You're going to have to pray to God you build that before the beat comes out, as with Tiagolini off the board already, Galaxy going to be doing wondrous things.
And this was the question I posed. Like, you can't get rid of the Zarya here because it's been something that was working out for you in the ban phase. Because I think if you're Cartel, you think the Zarya mirror, you'll be able to win most times. But Galaxy, it feels like all they need is 1 or 2 fights to go their way, and they just feel confident on the Zarya.
Yeah, it definitely just feels like a completely different Zarya composition. I mean, not having that Reaper on the board is definitely proving to be an issue for Cartel, as I also think that the Sojourn is doing a lot here. There's the grab coming through from Galaxy, going to connect onto 1, but they're going to be able to keep their Zarya alive for the time being, so that grab not going to be for a lot.
Azuya decides not to invest the beat into that fight. They were very low. They were playing for their own lives. They didn't want to Ajax right there, but that's one of those moments where maybe you're thinking about it, but it feels like once those 2 picks kind of went the way of Cartel, it was just, okay, we're going to stall this point out as long as we can, and it looks like as long as they can is 58%.
I saw like Azuya turn around and see that his team in the grab, and I realized that they were like, "Oh, I probably should have beat it there." But gonna actually save it for the next fight. I think is a smart play, but it does allow Redmaster to kind of catch up. You know, you can't get completely lapped here.
Gets out now from Fever. Azuya going to respond now with their own beat, so this is going to allow SkyFlock to play a little bit more aggressively here, going in, trying to find anything they can. Cartel or Tiagolini get out the pulse bomb here. Not going to be able to find the stick, but does find the kill steal. Back and forth, though. Both Zaryas are out. Tiagolini essentially hard carrying Cartel right now. Matstra will find Monk, and now Tia just trying to get rid of Eric, who's the last member of SkyFlock alive. It'll be Matstra who finds that one out. But Cartel...
You ever seen those memes where it's like, analyze this, and it's just like somebody going absolutely crazy? That's what Tiagolini just did. Just kind of single-handedly with that pulse bomb, allowing to get the kill on Galaxy, just allowing them to win out that fight. I mean, they were completely at a disadvantage, but those DPS from Cartel are able to clutch up, and now SkyFlock going to be coming back with a couple of ults, but it's going to be difficult for them to win this fight, especially into the override protocol.
Right out, focusing it all in on Galaxy at the moment. Continuing rush out there from Eric, but not going to be enough to keep Galaxy alive here. Pulse bomb did come out from Indra, not going to be able to find anyone, and it just seems like SkyFlock kind of understands how this fight's going to go. Eric falls. Monk, I think, just decided to walk off the side of the map as a second point already capped here for Cartel. And man, do they get the favorable next point here? They're going to be able to get set up very, very easily.
Yeah, really good start there from Cartel. They're going to try to push this into that last flashpoint territory. They still have ults on the board. They only pop the override protocol and Fever, going to be 40%. It's really going to come down to this overclock here from Monk, as it needs to go absolutely massive. Otherwise, this could be Cartel again getting the advantage.
And losing Azuya early on here for SkyFlock, you can kind of just tell, yeah, they understand this fight is over, especially with the beat coming out from the Cartel. Yeah, it was over really before it even started.
Yeah, I don't think you necessarily needed the beat. It was kind of something that they just kind of wanted to commit just so that they could secure the fight. But when you're in a 2-1 situation like this, you kind of don't need to force that, as Galaxy's still going to be a little bit behind in that grab, but it's going to be difficult for them to deal with it, as you know, they don't have a beat of their own, as Azuya needs to build up this grab, or this beat fast, but it's going to be difficult, especially with how close they're playing.
And grab now coming out from Shuji. Pulse bomb out as well. Going to be able to only find one, and Magister basically cleans out the rest of the fight. And Cartel looking like a much different team than what SkyFlock played back in Week 8. Team kill for them, 50% up on this point. And remember, they're on map point already.
Yeah, Cartel don't have anything though. They're coming up on a rush, but SkyFlock have all the advantage. They're going to be coming up on 4 ults of their own, so they should probably get this flip here, as long as they're able to shut down that Kiriko in time. I mean, the rush into 4 is it's a powerful ult, sure, but it's not going to be that powerful. So this should be SkyFlock's fight to win, and they need to win it, but they need to make sure they don't commit too much. Otherwise, I mean, SkyFlock going to be in a bad position, especially with how close this series is.
Overclock out now from Monk as they're trying to find anything. This has normally been something that's jump-started them in the past, but it's going to come and go, not finding anything right there other than the point flip, so you'll gladly take that. But I think if you're Cartel, you're okay giving up that point flip, because like you said, they didn't have any ultimates. They're about to come up with 2 right now to the 3 or 4 that SkyFlock's going to have.
Yeah, SkyFlock are going to be able to just kind of try their best, as the grab's going to come through from Galaxy, and it's going to be another fight win from there, and I think you're okay with that if you are the side of Cartel. You don't commit anything, they force the grab out, as it's just going to be SkyFlock's having those support ults and that pulse bomb, as Cartel going to probably be able to get one more fight in. This override protocol has to go massive.
I was going to say, letting Redmaster live that long, it could come back to haunt you, but no. Got the stagger kill right there. It's only going to stall him, though, for a brief moment.
Yeah, really good play there from the side of SkyFlock. Just kind of, surely that was an intentional stagger, I say. Surely, as it is going to allow the rest of the team to come back. As Cartel's going to try to close this out here with an override protocol, but the beat's good to match it, so it's going to be difficult for SkyFlock to lose this engagement.
Eric going to be able to find Shiyuji, but you do find Monk right there, and Redmaster finds their counterpart on the other side. You saw these ultimates right now for SkyFlock. Galaxy going to be able to find Fever. That Kitsu going to fade away, but now Galaxy just being chunked out right there by that Siphon pistol. But Eric coming in for the clutch with 2. Indra going to find the 3rd one. We're heading to a winner-take-all 5th point here.
Dude, my cortisol is spiking. I mean, what do you mean that SkyFlock? I mean, they had the advantage going into that fight. Their Zarya dies first, but it just doesn't matter because Galaxy takes all of the damage in the world thanks to the DPS from Cartel and is taken out of the engagement. But Eric going alive, going to be able to shut down everybody else from the side of Cartel. And so now, yeah, last flashpoint as a Cartel going to be able to get it set up first. They have a beat, they have a pulse, and SkyFlock going to be able to mirror with a rush potentially. But this beat is going to be kind of a game changer in terms of this first cap.
I feel like either I'm old or stupid because I don't necessarily know what cortisol is here. But yeah, like you said, I mean, the beat online for Redmaster, continuing rush coming out now from Eric. Redmaster going to use the beat to counter out, but it does not get the Magister in time. That's someone you desperately needed alive in this fight here. Those grenades do essentially God's work at times here, as both Lucios getting bubbles to keep themselves alive here. Both Zarya's highly charged and just staring down the barrel of another beam, but it's going to be SkyFlock coming out on top here with the team kill.
Yeah, and it was that's not a good fight for Cartel to lose. I mean, they're going to be coming up on a grab, sure, but SkyFlock have all the advantages. I mean, they have 4 ults coming online here as long as Zuya doesn't, explode from spontaneous combustion or something, but definitely going to be difficult for Cartel to get back into this. You kind of have to force a dry fight here and try to force out a lot of ults from SkyFlock, but you cannot commit a lot of your own. I mean, maybe pop out this grab and try to force everything from SkyFlock in order to make it maybe a last fight territory, but it's going to be difficult for Cartel to win this.
Grab out. Azuya does not have that beat online just yet. You're okay losing Indra, but you need to keep Galaxy alive, and they're barely going to be able to do that here. Getting pressured out a little bit now by Tagolini as Shiyuji going to be able to find Azuya on the other side. Not going to be able to build up their grab. Galaxy with some help from Magister going to be able to take themselves out there, and Cartel in control of this last point.
Yeah, 60% and counting. Cartel going to be having both their DPS ults online, but SkyFlock did a really good job there. They only committed the grab. They have 3 ults on the board. It is just going to be a challenge of these DPS ults. Zuya going to be having that advantage with the beat, but if, my history does serve correctly, a lot of the time these Lucios do lose a player before the beat comes out. Maybe it's a DPS or something, but you're going to have to pray that these DPS ults go crazy.
Well, the beat does hit all 5. The overclock coming out as well from Monk. Again, they've been kind of quiet this map with them. They will be able to find Fever out, and hell, a lot of the damage now coming from Galaxy. Pulse out from Tigolini, not going to be able to find anything right there. SkyFlock should be able to easily take control of the point. Did come at the cost of 2 ultimates, but you did get a pulse out from the other side at least.
Yeah, the pulse bomb commit there was a little iffy from Cartel. I mean, this is going to be the last fight territory for Cartel. They need to get back onto this objective and fast. SkyFlock don't really have anything besides a pulse bomb and a rush. Cartel, this override protocol has to go massive. It has to get at least 2 picks in order to win out this fight, and you need to win out this fight. Otherwise, it is going to be SkyFlock taking us to a 2-1 situation.
You get the touch right now from Cartel, so you lose force set. There's the override protocol already with 1 bubble invested in them here, but everyone on SkyFlock doing a good job playing away from corners. They're okay giving up a flip here right now, but you lose Indra, who has the only ultimate online for you right now, so They're going to stay in this fight, but they need to safely find a way to stay in it as well. But no, Cartel's going to force their hand here, playing aggressively. Consumer Rush now out from Fever. No ultimates online still for SkyFlock, but they're doing a good job staying alive. But you lose your Lucio. That's not who you wanted to see fall here. You lose Galaxy out as well. There should at least be a touch from SkyFlock, but it's going to be a fleeting one at that. Monk going to be able to come and find Red Master out, but still, who's the next touch? Where's Indra? They're not going to be able to find it as Eric dies just before they get the touch, and Cartel puts themselves on a series point.
Completely back and forth engagement. I think taking that Reaper off the board from SkyFlock did a lot there. It did make it a lot closer, but you're just not able to win out that Zarya. And this entire situation was just a complete mirror, except for the Emre versus the Sojourn, of course. But it just came down to ult usage. Just a couple of overcommits from some of these teams and some of these flashpoints, and just not recognizing that you need to kind of have something in the back pocket in order to make things a little bit more winnable. Also, a little bit of a bad start from SkyFlock starting on that Ramatra over the Zarya, so it is going to be a little bit of a difficult situation for SkyFlock to get back into it, considering how badly that first point went. But you know, unfortunately, just not going to be able to have the ults that they desperately need to. Just over ults in some situations, a couple good saves in others, but it is going to be a difficult task for SkyFlock to win that out, and so now they're going to be at match point, backs against the walls from elimination.
Yeah, and you have to remember, SkyFlock has had pretty good bans this series, but at the same time, you look at the three heroes they banned out, the Zarya, the Reaper, and the Emre. Those have been three heroes that have just made their lives living hell throughout this entire series outside the maps they've been banned in here. But SkyFlock, they've shown us in the past they've been able to keep things close. They made it very close on Kings Row. They forced a 5th point here on New Junk City. But is it a little bit too late for them? Now their backs are fully against the wall, and we talked about this SkyFlock team, undefeated in the regular season, #1 seed, at least from their pool, wins their first round game, but then gets 3-0 swept by Lightning, and now they're staring down the barrel of a very, very early exit for them in these playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we can take a look at these stats really quickly. Galaxy 32-9 with 14k damage. Jeez Louise. Magister getting 17k damage is crazy. I know that Emre does output a lot of damage, but I mean that is a lot. But I mean this really did come down to the absolute wire. I mean it literally went to all 5 flashpoints, 99 to 99. So I mean completely back and forth engagement. Zuyu just 13 deaths. I don't know. You're gonna have to play safer on this Lucio. I mean Red Master you see on the other side, not the most deaths on the team. It was going over to Shuyuji as a. Gonna be again back to the drawing board. I mean that was your map pick. It's gonna be difficult for SkyFlock to come up with an answer, as this could be our potential last map.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be hard, because do you get rid of the Tracer here now, because you just know Tiagaliz could go back over to that Reaper, which was banned out this map here. It's gonna be very difficult for them to really make that choice here, but again, first they have to make the map selection here, so they still have some time for that. We don't know what it is just yet, but you have to be thinking right now, no matter what, for SkyFlock, unless you end up winning this series, this could be your final map selection of the season. Even if you do force a map 5, that's not your map selection. This is your final one. It has to be the map that's left in that map pool that you feel the most confident on, especially against what Cartel's been showing you this entire series.
Yeah, and we can take a look at the map pool really quickly just to kind of think about what they might want to go to. We've gone to, where have we gone to? We've gone to Control, we have gone to
Hybrid
Flashpoint, and we went to Hybrid. So it is Push and Escort. If you don't want to go to the Zarya mirror yet again, you can't ban out the Zarya from SkyFlock, so I think you don't want to be on that composition. I think you want to take us to maybe a dive map or a poke composition. Poke a little bit does sometimes allow that Zarya to be played. So if I was to take a guess, I would say Rado is our most likely option in wanting to take that Zarya mirror.
Are you a betting man?
Am I a betting man?
Yes.
I do like to gamble a little bit. I'm gonna say yes, I'm a betting man.
Unfortunately for this one, it would not come out on top. We do know what our 4th and potential final map of this series will be. You were right on the mode that we're going to. It will be Escort. Let's Rialto instead. That will be where we're heading to next.
Okay, I was like pretty close. Like it is still a dive type of map. Not gonna be as severe on that dive archetype, as that third point is definitely a more brawl heavy one. But I mean, you do like to run the dive on these first 2 points, so we'll probably be seeing maybe that diva come back out to play. Maybe this is where Cartel used that diva ban. So SkyFlock gonna have a little bit of a difficult situation here. Do you maybe ban out a tank in order to protect the diva, or is this an instance where you try to target maybe one of those backliners, maybe one of those DPS that were causing you issues? I mean, maybe you could ban out the Sojourn. That could be an option, especially I think it's not a bad one, but I mean, the diva ban could come out here from Cartel. I think it's still on the table, so that could be where it's finally being used here on Rialto. It's a little bit of a scary situation from SkyFlock. I think it's a good option, but it's going to be a dangerous task.
Yeah, and no, I think it's gonna be a really tough decision here for SkyFlock. Again, they have first ban here, and do you go after a tank, like you said, just to have it be essentially a protection ban so that diva doesn't get banned out here? Or do you go after just something on the DPS line, something you think could potentially show up here? I mean, this is a map where we see map-specific bans, and this is one of them where you can get rid of the Widow and you can get rid of the Ana and say, like, hey, that makes a lot of sense just for this map. Haven't seen those heroes at all this entire series, but when you come to this map, you kind of expect to maybe see one of those two go away here. SkyFlock, though, a very, very tough decision for them.
Yeah, I mean, you could ban out a tank, protect your diva. You could ban out a damage, protect maybe one of your options. Maybe you can protect that Sojourn ban, but it's going to be... Okay.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it, because I think this is basically SkyFlock saying, we need to keep another ban alive here for our final map. What is it going to be? At this point, I don't know, but the Lucio getting rid of here, especially on this map where I feel like when you see teams struggle on this map, they kind of go away from Lucio just generally.
Yeah, I do agree. I do think that that Lucio ban coming out is it's going to make the backline a little bit more of a question mark, right? Before we were like, oh, it's just going to be Kiri Lucio. Yep, Kiri Lucio yet again. But now with that Lucio off the board, it makes things a little bit more interesting. A lot more versatility can be shown. You can run the Kiri Wu Yang, you can run the Juno Brig, you can run the BAP. That's the problem that Cartel have been able to realize, and it's the fact that they still have a diva ban on the table. So Galaxy not going to be able to play that diva on this dive map, and that was what I was worried about. Is if SkyFlock didn't put a ban onto a tank, it was just probably going to be that diva ban coming out from Cartel. They're trying to shut this down right here, right now. I mean, it's going to be... I don't know what Galaxy runs now. You could run the Hazard maybe, but you weren't looking as powerful on that Hazard as you were on the diva. I mean, we saw on Li Zhong 25-0 from Galaxy, as that Hazard kind of was a panic pick on Kings. We'll have to find out, of course, if the SkyFlock are going to be able to manage that, or if Cartel's going to be able to take this.
Yeah. You also have to remember, back on Li Shang, it was a diva mirror. It wasn't diva going up against Zarya. It was a diva mirror. I think that's what really helped out Galaxy a lot there. And throughout this entire series, we have really seen Shuji find a lot of value when they're not playing that diva here. So you could really say, like, hey, maybe they struggle playing the diva, but they kind of had to just mirror it to give their team the best chance there without that Zarya. The Zarya still does find a decent amount of value on this map, but can be just kind of being out by teams taking high ground positioning away, teams rotating around a little bit too fast for that Zarya. But honestly, right now, if you're Cartel, and especially if you're Shuji, you might just keep that Zarya out there on the field. I mean, you got rid of the diva, so now you don't have to worry about a grab being eaten. Granted, we haven't seen that yet this entire series, but still, you get rid of a lot of the pressure that the diva does put onto that Zarya.
Yeah, I do think that could definitely be an option. I do think Zarya is playable on Rialto. I don't know, though. It's going to force the Zarya mirror to be a lot less likely to come out. You know, I think that the Zarya into things like the Hazard, like the honestly, even the Winston, it's a lot more difficult than the Zarya into the Diva. So you could run that Zarya still, but I mean, you've taken the Diva off the board, which is what they kind of wanted to run. So maybe we see that out. Maybe we see the mirror on the dive. Maybe they're trying to see if they can win out in the Hazard mirror. But I mean, we're gonna have to find out here. As no Lucio on the board, also gonna make our backlines interesting. Maybe we see that cat on a backline again. That could be kind of funny.
It could be kind of funny, but I feel like this is a map where I mean, you're gonna probably come out with Juno without the Lucio there. Maybe Iari as well. I mean, we saw the Iari ban earlier on. I feel like that was more of just like a protection ban for that support line then. But this is a map where we talk about poke. The Iari does kind of fall in that category of poke tank or poke DP support.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that the Yllari, yeah, we do see the Yllari coming out from the side of SkyFlock, and they are going to be on the double hit scan along with that hazard. Eric going to be on that Baptiste, a little bit more poke. So it looks like SkyFlock is just going to be running pretty much a poke composition, as a Cartel are going to be trying to make this Reaper Zarya work again. But on a map like Rialto, it's going to be a little bit difficult to find out if that works, as a Magister going to start on that Widow, probably going to be swapping back over to that Emre, of course. And then a Kiri Juno backline, a lot of healing output, but I mean, the Juno, not one of the, oh jeez Louise, good lord. I mean, if your head was taken off, that would be that'd be devastating. But I mean, we're gonna have to find out if that Juno is a good selection here in just a couple of moments, as these teams are gonna be rounding that first corner.
And interesting to see Indra not come out with the Tracer here, not banned out, and so they're going to be playing a hit scan with that Ashe. So essentially, this is a very like straight up poke heavy comp coming out right now from SkyFlock, as Indra just going to be taken out early on there by Master on this Emre. And again, you have to remember the Emre was already banned out, and you see Tagagolini going straight back in on that Reaper into that backline, but it will be Monk finding Fever out. So again, Monk had a little bit of an off map last map. They find one early on here, and now it seems like SkyFlock finally stabilizing here a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of damage getting applied to the side of Galaxy, however. But I mean, the Zarya, you can't do as much into the hazard as you can the Diva. A little bit of a, okay, was that the 360 on purpose, or Galaxy gonna be able to shut down Shu Yuji? As there goes another one on the Magister. As there's 3 minutes on the clock, a minute taken off the board here. As SkyFlock did a really good job. Indra gonna swap off of that other hit scan, go over to that Tracer. We'll have to find out if that means anything. As Cartel not gonna change anything up, gonna be staying on the same exact composition. Kind of worked in your favor before, but oh, that's not a good start.
They weren't even going for Tiagalini right there. They never saw Tiagalini. They're going after Red Master. Tiagalini just happened to be behind them. Izuya going to be able to find Magister out as well, and this is what SkyFlock was looking for here on this competition. Have Monk find an early open pick, and then just kind of force Cartel into spots where they either have to kind of find a safe place to rest for a moment or just fall back and regroup.
Yeah, it is going to be difficult, especially when they don't have like a Widowmaker of their own. I mean, the Emre is a really good hit scan option, yes, but it doesn't have like the killing power that a Widowmaker has.
Oh my goodness!
My God, Monk, stop it! I mean, that's just another cleanup there, and I mean, Cartel are just getting completely wiped, and Galaxy going to let them know in the drink.
Jeez, and now, off topic, is that a Paris skin, or is that a Vegas skin for Monk?
Monk? I didn't see.
We'll figure it out here in a brief moment. But, I mean, just look, you're already seeing Cartel make swaps. I mean, Shuyuji getting off the Zarya that has been so dominant for them these last couple maps, going over now to the Hazard to match.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be good for that Hazard to come through. It's going to be a little bit easier, as it does force the swaps. We're still going to see Fever onto that Juno, but Magister making the swap over to the Sojourn, definitely going to be able to put up a little bit more of a fight into that Widowmaker. But it's going to be difficult, especially with the ult advantage that SkyFlock have.
They really just wanted to get Shuyuji out of that fight pretty early on, and I do not blame them here, as, you know, someone's in that backline. The image does also come out here from SkyFlock. Now Monk actually getting pressured out a little bit, going to barely be able to keep themselves alive here. They know Tiagalini is in this backline somewhere, and essentially, I mean, they're just chasing ghosts, but they do eventually see the ghost. Tiagalini, though, doing a good job keeping themselves alive.
Yeah, really good idea there, as Eric taking all the damage in the world. Tiagalini get it taken down in the mirror from the Tracer, as SkyFlock they committed a lot to that last fight, but good news is that since Cartel swapped up their entire composition, it is a little bit difficult for them to have any ult charge of their own, as they're going to have a rush. It's not going to be able to get really mirrored from anything, but it doesn't matter, as SkyFlock are going to be able to get 2 picks of their own.
And they are keeping Shuyuji up through this rush, but not going to be enough there, as Izuya going to be able to find Monk, going to be able to find Red Master as well. And Monk, I believe, still has yet to die here. This Widow is, I always like to say, a boomer and bust, but on this map, it seems it's always more boom than bust.
Yeah, Cartel, they're going to have 4 ults coming online, but there's 15 seconds left. They don't really have a lot of good touch options here, as Tiagalini going to try their best and has the Pulse Bomb online, but I mean, SkyFlock have that Captive Sun. That could be deadly here, as Cartel need to win out this fight, otherwise it's a full hold. Oh.
You lose Shuyuji early on. The Sun going to come out, help find Magister. There's not even going to be a touch right there. I mean, if you're looking for SkyFlock to show us any signs of life in this series, they showed us great signs of life that round and put themselves in a really good spot to force a map 5.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Cartel to go for this fuller hold. I mean, it's technically doable. Is it likely? You know, that's a great question. I don't believe so, but I mean, hey, I've seen Stranger Things. Really good show. But we'll have to find out, of course, as now Cartel gonna be on defense here. The bot did not get very far at all. Dude, what a disgusting Widowmaker, honest to God. As right now, Cartel gonna be in a little bit of a daunting situation. This could be going to map 5 as SkyFlock. The second that they're off of that Zarya Reaper composition, look a lot more powerful. But now, okay, I know I'm thinking way ahead in the future. This map's not done. But let's say that Cartel lose this map, right? Then it's going to be Cartel getting map selection and first ban. And a lot of the good bans from SkyFlock have already come through, as we do get a pause, but I can still talk about my theory. Because Cartel are just going to choose a map that really does allow the Zarya Reaper to come to play, right? You're going to be having that map selection. No more gimmicks from SkyFlock. I mean, it's just going to be that Reaper and that Zarya composition coming through from Cartel, and it's going to be difficult for SkyFlock to really respond to it. They've used that Reaper ban. So what in terms of what push maps are available, it's Colosseo, New Queen, or Runasapi. If I'm Cartel, if I lose out this map, I'm going to Runasapi, and I'm just forcing that Zarya Reaper composition again, which, I mean, SkyFlock have shown that they are not really comfortable running.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, you also have to remember Cartel has banned out some stuff that SkyFlock likes to play. Like, we know the D.Va's been banned out. We know the Hazard's been banned out. Those are now available for them here. The Zarya, we've at least seen Galaxy being able to match Yuji after a little bit here. However, let's talk about what Yuji's playing right now on this Domina. I don't know how you feel about Domina, but I feel like Domina, you essentially need to be playing almost perfectly, even on a map where Domina is strong like this one is, to be able to get a lot of value out of her.
I remember when they came out, I was like, wow, what a really cool, fun character. But unfortunately, they're just like a worst Sigma, honest to God, in terms of that poke composition that you like to run. I mean, it's going to be difficult for them to play into it. Sure, you're going to be able to push back maybe that Hazard, but I mean, it just doesn't have the skills or the height pressure that you can get on something like a Hazard, like a Sigma with Levitate also.
And, I mean, you're taking angles here. Match, you're going to be able to find Eric out, but you do see Tia Galena get taken out, and now Zuya finds 2 there, but you lose Galaxy. However, Shiuji very low on health here as well, and Zuya showing us why this Iari could be very, very scary here. Monk, though, on the off angle, shuts down Match, and essentially right now, if you're Cartel, you have to stay in this fight. You cannot afford to lose it. That golden box of victory is not that far away.
It's going to be scrappy. Cartel going to lose a lot of their players. It's just going to be a Tracer. Malgus also from Galaxy. They're looking to close this out right here, right now.
I don't think they touch.
Is there even a touch?
No.
No, that's unfortunate.
Well, we head to a winner-take-all map 5 against 2 of the best teams so far in this entire season, but their lives and their season hopes on the line going into our final map of the series here. Okay, that is a Vegas skin.
That is a Vegas Eternal skin. You were right. You know,
this was just
Dang.
pixels.
Where do you even like? I don't even think I could hit that. I'm saying that like I'm good at Widowmaker or something. Yeah, I know. I was saying that like I'm good at Widowmaker. I'm not good at Widowmaker. But just a really good showing there from SkyFlock, showing that the map selection does matter a little bit for that Zarya Reaper composition. But now Cartel going to be in a really good position. They get map pick. They get first ban. And a lot of the good bans from SkyFlock have been taken off the board. They can't ban out the Zarya, they can't ban out the Reaper. So you just take them to something like Runasapi, a more of a ground brawlish map, and you just try to go from there. As I don't know how SkyFlock, they need to find some kind of answer to it here, or they're just going to be taken off of the board, taken out of the bracket.
Zuya never died again. They looked incredible in that Iari, and I mean the stats are very much down for this entire map, but it was such a quick map. It really was, and it's kind of going back to the stats that we saw back on map 1 of Lijiang Tower, where that was a dominant map win there for SkyFlock. And you're looking at it again here. Galaxy picks up 14 kills. They looked almost unstoppable playing that Hazard there. You even got the mirror there for a little bit from a Shiuji, who eventually went over to the Dominant, which, like I said, even on a map where they are normally strong on, like Rialto, you still have to play almost perfectly right there. But once you lose one player on your team, whether it be you as a Domina or anyone else, the Domina really doesn't do well down a man.
Yeah, it's really difficult for a composition like that to work. I think that Domino was definitely more of a, not a panic pick, but they're like, okay, we need to try to go for something for a fuller hold. And so they're like, all right, I'm just going to pull out my bread and butter, that Domina. A strong poke option, sure, but it's just not going to be good enough in order to get the job done. So we are going to be going to a map number 5. This has been a really exciting series. And the ball is in Cartel's court. They can close this out right here, right now. But SkyFlock have a chance still.
They still have a chance, but everyone, we've already played 4 maps. It's been back and forth. We're going to give the teams 5 minutes, or no, 3 minutes here, or a certain amount of time. I don't know which one. But we're going to take a short break. When we come back, you're not going to want to miss it. It's do or die for both these teams. It's win or go home.
Water is the softest and most yielding substance, yet nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, because nothing can compete with it. Lao Tzu.
Name straight, new wave.
Season hopes are on the line for both these two teams here and now. It's win or go home. It's do or die for SkyFlock and Cartel. And Mega Ninja, we've talked about throughout this entire series, especially at the start. Both these teams came in as the 1 and 2 seeds from their respective groups. They did not expect to be at this point right now, but yet they are here. And now one of them, after this map, will unfortunately be going home, unless somehow we get a mythical draw on a push map.
There are two ways to draw on push. I've talked about this before. I have never seen it before, whether it be me watching Overwatch or me casting Overwatch. Either neither team touches the bot, or both of the teams get the payload and don't push at a single. Like once butt scratch happens, not a single other push comes through. That's the only ways to tie. So listen, if I had to go down to a tie for this series, if we had to go to a map 6, I would love to cast that. That would be very interesting. I'm not saying I want it to happen, of course, but I think it'd be fascinating. But no, here we are, last map. Oh, potentially. So this has been a back and forth engagement. I did say it over the break talking to you, but this feels more like a game of chess than it does anything else. I think both of these teams are so mechanically talented that it has really come down to compositions and bans, right? I feel like both of these teams just proving that they can individually play out of their mind on anything really. We've seen Tracer pop-offs, we've seen Diva pop-offs, we've seen Zarya pop-offs, we've seen Lucio 3k boops, right? So like we've really seen every single player on this team play out of their on either teams playing out of their minds. So right now, I mean, I think it is just going to be a selection of where are we going and what are we taking off of the board.
Well, let's see where Cartel has decided to bring us for our final map of the series. And it's going to be Runesapi here. Again, might be our final map of the series, but more than likely will be our final map of the series here. And I mean, Runesapi does lend itself to some unique play styles here and there. You can play the Brawl. You can play Wrecking Ball on this map. You can play Dive. You can play Poke. You can play a lot of stuff here. And I think that's going to be very, very difficult now for these teams to kind of build around. But at this point in the series, you know what each other are good at. Cartel, though, they are the fortunate ones, I guess that's how you want to say it, to have the first ban here.
Yeah, we talked about it over the break, but I think Cartel are going to be wanting to run that Zarya Reaper composition yet again, and SkyFlock don't really have the option. They don't have a Zarya ban anymore, they don't have a Reaper ban anymore, so I think if I'm Cartel, the only thing left to look at are the supports. I think Cartel wants to maybe do another support ban to protect your backline, making sure that Kiri Lucio is still an option, and yeah, there's the Baptiste ban coming through. Really, I think just Cartel being like, don't touch our Kiri Lucio, we don't want to see our Kiri off of the board just yet, and so now SkyFlock a little bit of more of an interesting position. What are they going to be banning out? They can't ban the Zarya, they can't ban the Reaper, and they can't ban the Emre. I guess what's remaining is the Sojourn? Maybe that's the last... I think that's got to be what it is. I think SkyFlock have to ban out that Soj. I don't think any other ban makes sense.
They could ban out the Tracer potentially here.
True, that could be true.
It's going to be the Soj. It's going to be the Soj, and this was the thing. Me and you were talking about this during the break. Like, if it went this way with the protection ban here, where does SkyFlock go? And we basically both came to the agreement of they weren't going to touch the tank ban. It was going to have to be a DPS ban, but we didn't know where they were going to go. Tracer was probably a safe bet, but I kept on saying they're going to probably make a surprise ban here. We have been seeing Monk play these hits against throughout the entire series, and Sojourn has been their go-to. This is not a map where you can necessarily get away with the Widow. We've seen Monk play Ashe a couple times this series to not the best results here. You might be seeing the cast come out, or you might be seeing them adopt their own Emre as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to just be the Cass or the Emre, I think. I don't think any other hit scan is a good option here. There could be a world in which Double Flex comes out, potentially. But even then, it would be completely interesting to see that, as we're probably going to be seeing that Zarya mirror yet again. So Double Flex, not your worst option in the world. Alpaca! I love that guy. I got distracted.
Don't worry. All the observers here at CGL love the animals or stuffed animals on every map.
I like the observers of CGL then. Is there another stuffed animal? Is my observer taking me to another stuffed animal?
No, they're just taking you to the other spawn.
Oh, well, okay.
But I mean, coming out of the gate, I think this is kind of what we expected. Oh, okay, Indra. Hey, Mega, you want to talk about the Widow?
You know what? I do want to talk about the Widow. I don't like it. That's what I'll say about it. I don't. Okay, yeah, Indra, just get off that guy. You're not fooling anybody over here. So SkyFlock gonna be running the cast as their hit scan, and Cartel gonna be running that exact same composition they've been running these last couple of maps, the tried and true, the classic. And I think Runasapi definitely favors it. So do SkyFlock have the answer to it, or is Cartel gonna be able to take this? Galaxy gonna be starting on that hazard, trying to see if that's gonna be the solution. As we're gonna find out here in a couple of moments.
I think one important thing for Galaxy this map is if the hazard's not working, they have to know they have to make that swap early on to match the Zarya. We've seen them be able to actually match the UG on the Zarya pretty well throughout the entire series here. But Tia Golini almost gets taken out very early on right there. Still kind of playing with their life at the moment. A Monk on this cast. Got to be able to find them out early here. That's exactly what you're looking for now if you're SkyFlock. An early advantage. Just build up what lead you can. While Cartel's still kind of playing around the backside of the point.
Yeah, they didn't lose a lot. I mean, just their Reaper there, so they don't have to necessarily give up a lot of space. They can just kind of try to poke as much as they can in terms of ult charge. I mean, Magister doing a really good job trying to build up to that override protocol, but this entire time, the bot's getting moved. SkyFlock is going to be getting close to that first checkpoint. They're going to finally go in with a re-engage here, but it's going to be difficult, especially with that cast going to be able to shut down that Reaper on occasion if there's not a bubble available.
So this is the awkward part right here for SkyFlock. They're basically going to have to give up all the space they just got and rotate around to the other side of the map for the brief moment before they re-engage on the fight. You still see Indra trying to get a little bit of pressure on that backline, especially on the Matstra, but they're not going to be able to find them just yet. Has to use the recall to keep themselves alive, but this is what you're looking for right now for Cartel. Tia Golini to get going here. They have been vitally important to them. Same thing with Matstra, who finds out Galaxy, but this Reaper has been a problem all series long. It did force out that ban in map 2, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be so difficult for SkyFlock to deal with it. Yes, they did get that nice early pick in order to get a little bit of meterage on the board, but I mean, Cartel are just going to be able to bubble their Reaper and just shoot everybody. I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it if you're the side of SkyFlock. You don't have the damage in order to output it. They're going to be able to take the lead here as we do approach 2 minutes off the clock. Is Cartel going to be having an override protocol online? They can definitely open up with that, but SkyFlock have a lot in terms of answers.
Right out, the Deadeye out as well, and Matra, they have nowhere where they can really run. They'll fall out right there. Tia Golini gonna be taken out by Indra, and this fight already over, but it does look like Cartel trying to at least find one more on the way out. The only one to fall for SkyFlock is Azuya, but on that Lucio, they'll be back in a jiffy.
Yeah, they're going to be back really quickly. I do think the lead should go the way of SkyFlock, but I mean, Cartel, they only used one there. SkyFlock did commit 2. SkyFlock definitely having to make sure, you know, in this situation where your composition is a little bit less favored, you have to make sure that you utilize your ults correctly. Otherwise, it is going to be difficult for them to really get the lead here.
And I mean, I think one thing you're going to see constant throughout this entire map. Beatho out from Redmaster very early on here, and SkyFlock, they can't escape fast enough. Azuya just got back into the fray and immediately back in the spawn, and now you just see Galaxy trying to buy whatever time they can for their teammates to either die or run. It looks like most of them will be able to run, but the others, actually no, they're all just deciding to die.
I think it's smart. You're gonna, if you try to get out, I think the rest of Cartel just chase you down, especially with Redmaster on that Lucio just being able to speed anybody around. As right now, SkyFlock do have 3 ults of their own. Cartel don't have a beat to respond, especially to this downpour. But I mean, these bubbles could be massive. Could make sure to keep the rest of them alive. As this grab is gonna be dangerous. It's gonna be really difficult for SkyFlock to live this, unless they have a beat in response.
The contest does come out in time right there, but the secondary contest doesn't show up. So Matra will die, but I mean, I think if you're Cartel, you've gotten everything out of this fight that you wanted. Unless you honestly think you can win it, there's no need to invest anything into it.
Yeah, really good play there from Cartel. I mean, just not committing anything, just losing out that fight incredibly fast and just being like, okay, we'll take our forward spawn and leave and go on our merry way, as they are going to be able to catch that wave, going to be able to respawn in time, and so now Cartel going to be in a similar position. I mean, 4 ults for the side of SkyFlock coming up on 5, but they don't have lead, they don't have forward spawn, so it's going to be difficult for them. There was a pulse bomb committed. Did it connect on anything? No, but hey.
ground.
Oh, here's the downpour.
It connected on the ground. That downpour doesn't seem to find anyone. The beat, though, coming out. No, it's not. It's not coming out at all. There's an Ajax, I believe. But hey, 3 ults, actually no, 2 ults invested there. No, I believe actually 3 ults invested there by SkyFlock. Lead to nothing. Granted, you got 3 out from the other side as well, but Cartel, they still have this lead and probably will get forward spawns back.
I think that was an Ajax. I actually do think it was.
It was.
Zuya. Oh, that's devastating. That's not good. I mean, now SkyFlock just have, what, a high noon left. They're going to be able to try to... Oh, okay, that makes it a little bit easier.
I mean...
It looks...
Just come in very quickly, find every pick you need, and yeah, you just gotta jump off the map and regroup up here. And I mean, SkyFlock being able to win that fight that quickly puts him in such a good spot now.
I was still in the middle of my color casting, and they just interrupted with an amazing clean fight. So now, Yuji not going to be able to get that forward spawn a little bit, which is going to be a little bit of a problem here for this recontest, as it could mean that SkyFlock gets the lead here, could unlock that forward spawn, but if they come back, if they unlock this butt scratch, we could be in a tiable situation.
Beat out from Redmaster. The response from Eric is going to be that their own Kitsune Rush. Now Redmaster just going straight in after both Eric and Monk, but Monk does have that Deadeye ready to go here. Monk also gets some help from Galaxy on that off-angle. Override Protocol coming out from Master. The Deadeye out again, going to be able to shut down the Override Protocol for the 2nd straight time. And now Tiagolini not going to be able to escape, but you know what has escaped? The bot here for a brief moment. Slowly coming back in, though, as Monk has just become a problem on this Cassidy. They've been hiding it this entire series. What a time to pull it out.
Yeah, really good usage of just getting that high noon at the same time that they get that Emre ult. I mean, this Emre is going to fly up to the sky limit, and the cast is like, alright, you know what, I love me a little bit of Duck Hunt, so I'm just going to shoot you out of the sky. Now SkyFlock going to get the lead. Our chances of a tie have been diminished. There's no more chances of a tie coming through, as SkyFlock still have ults available, as Cartel going to be a little bit behind. 63% and counting, but I mean, maybe they do get some random picks, but it's going to be difficult.
Downpour doesn't find anyone. Actually, no, it does find one. Redmaster going to be taken out. Pulse Bomb only going to bomb the jagged wall that Galaxy made right there. But still, it's going to lead to a good start to this team fight already for SkyFlock, as they are slowly moving up, adding on to their lead right now. Silver Bullet Shot going to land, but not going to be able to find the kill onto Suyuji. But still, you're adding on to your lead here for SkyFlock. Already 40 meters and counting.
I think that this Cassidy's just becoming an issue, right? I mean, there's another high noon already, as the Magister is on 30%, right? So this hit scan duel is definitely getting away from you a little bit, as the beat's going to come through from the side of SkyFlock. They're going to try to re-engage into this rush from Fever, but it's going to be going back and forth as the bot is getting taken the other way.
And I think right now, you're SkyFlock, you understand what this fight is. You've already kind of lost it. You're just sticking in it as long as you possibly can. Azuya might be the only one who should get out. Eric and the rest of them are going to go back to the spawn, but Azuya, they're able to escape.
Yeah, Fever going to be able to get the kill into Eric. So now SkyFlock have that high noon. They're going to probably hold on to that until this Override Protocol comes through yet again, but Cartel, with that beat committed from Zuya, it's going to make it dealing with his Grav a little bit harder, right? You don't have anything for it. There it is, going to be popped incredibly early, and it's going to be doing a lot of damage.
It finds 2 immediately. Azuya, they're going to be able to find Suyuji, so SkyFlock's not necessarily out of this one just yet, and as I say that, I think now they are officially out of this one. Tiagolini cleaning up this fight with 2. Could they find the last one? No, it's going to be Redmaster there, but if you're Cartel, you get the forward spawns back, you're going to be able to start cutting into this lead here, and you look at that time back now, Mega. It's no longer on their side.
I'm looking at the time bank, but I'm also looking at the ult economy. I mean, look at SkyFlock. They have 4 ults available, and their Zarya's not even there from the side of Cartel. So they're just going to have to give up almost instantaneously, as they're going to be back, but they have 4 ults to utilize. And that's a nice pick with nothing to happen. Oh my god.
This cast has been just hiding in the wings this entire series, and Monk going back to the performance we saw them on Rialto on this Widow. On the Widow, now on this Cassie. It just seems like they just don't miss.
This cast is just a problem for the side of Cartel. There's nothing to deal with it, and so they're going to lose that forward spawn instantaneously. They all got it, I guess, but I mean, there's 3 ults. This Override Protocol is just going to get shut down again by this high noon, so I don't know how you're going to be able to deal with that, as Cartel need to win probably the rest of these fights in order to potentially make this even competitive right now, as there's a 40-meter lead.
And just look at all the pressure that SkyFlock's taking here right now, all the space they're taking as well. There's the beat, there's the downpour, and the Kitsune Rush out now from SkyFlock. They're trying to make sure they get a team fight win here, but the Death Blossom gonna be able to find one, but that's all it finds right there. It's gonna be shut down by Monk, who is again just having themselves a map here, and there's nowhere for Fever to run, but they'll take one with them at least. However, with the forward spawns in their control and Galaxy finding the backline, I mean, SkyFlock's gonna be able to add on to their lead here.
Yeah, they're going to get even more meterage. They don't have a numbers, sure, but I mean, any meterage is good meterage for the side of SkyFlock, as I mean, 40 seconds left on the clock. Cartel in a dire situation. A lot of ults off the board for the side of SkyFlock, but they have to win so many fights in a row in order to get the job done. Cartel needs to make sure that they can gain as much ult charge as physically possible without utilizing too much, but they need to get this job done. I mean, it's going to be so difficult, especially with the bot still in your territory.
Tigolini, though, almost gets taken out there very early on. The override protocol coming out right now. I mean, the data going to be held onto this time because I just don't think this override is going to really find that much here. Everyone from SkyFlock doing a good job playing away. Kitsune Rush now out. There's the Deadeye from Monk. Just going to be used to buy time. You look at the time bank here. Overtime going to commence, but you lose Monk. Now you're about to lose Galaxy. Eric out as well, and I don't like how that fight went for SkyFlock there. They invest the Deadeye, don't find anything, but they have 3 ultimates coming up.
Yeah, Cartel gonna be able to take that forward spawn away, as now Cartel gonna have that grab online. That's gonna be absolutely massive. You're gonna have to pray that Zuya Ajaxes again in order to maybe get this done. I mean, you're gonna have to win. What is this? 1 more, 2 more fights, something like that. As SkyFlock have a lot in the time in the bank, and Cartel don't really have a lot to answer. I mean, this beat is just gonna be so massive for Zuya.
Indra, again, they've been big this entire series ever since I came out on this Tracer. Beat out early on. There's the downpour out as well. I don't think it captures anyone in it, but you do find Redmaster out there as Monk finds them. Indra finds Tigolini. Galaxy cleaning it up now. Cartel, they're down to 1 person. They're down to none. SkyFlock comes back from being down 2-1 to move on in the playoffs. Cartel, they put up a hell of a fight, but their season ends here.
This was a back and forth engagement of the Titans. I mean, this was everything for these teams. I mean, they played it to the absolute limit. We went to Flashpoint number 5. We went to Li Zhong thirds. I mean, we went to every single measurable in disengagement. So I mean, really good showing between both of these teams. I mean, if you're Cartel, you got to hold your head up high. You put up a hell of a fight, but they're just not going to be able to get the job done at the end. That cast was just too much of a problem, and they hadn't had to deal with that yet. So I mean, that's going to be the end of Cartel, and SkyFlock going to be moving on through this lower bracket.
Yeah, and I mean, just again, back and forth series. You look at the stats here from this final one, and Galaxy, this hazard that had been very back and forth throughout this entire series, really started to hit on Rialto. It's continue hitting here, but I think the person we really got to talk about is maybe we should talk about Indra a little bit more. Only dying 4 times, but Monk just seemed to be hitting shot after shot after shot, being a problem. They held the Cassidy in for the longest time. And they banned at the Soj. I don't think you were going to see Magister play the Soj anyway. I think they were just unveiling the secret weapon.
Yeah, I do think that it was just a Magister. You know, the override protocol's a good ult, but it doesn't really matter when you're taken out of the sky 9 times out of 10. And so, I mean, even that last one, they were like, wait, this is like a really terrible override protocol, so we're just going to not use our Deadeye here. And so, I mean, we've gone every which way as a... I mean, this was an incredibly close series. As I mean, just a game of chess at the end of the day. It was really just both these teams getting the right bans, getting some good compositions. I mean, it seemed like SkyFlock couldn't really deal with that Zarya Reaper composition for the time being, but then, and in the final hour, they were managing to get the job done, and so Cartel, their season's gonna end here.
It's unfortunate because, I mean, everyone on Cartel just played incredibly as well. Tigolini, Shiyuji, Magister, Redmaster, Fever, they all seem to have their moments throughout this entire series, and it seemed like at a point they were the better team. I mean, you go back to Kings Row, a very strong first round there, and then we see SkyFlock match it essentially, but then Cartel starts to shut them down time after time again on that 3rd point. Then it's going over to New Junk City, which, yes, we did go all 5 points, but it never necessarily felt like Cartel wasn't in control of that map there. But then you come over to this last map, and it just seemed like it was back and forth for a moment, but once SkyFlock got those forward spawns, they never necessarily looked back from them. And you have to remember, Cartel got forward spawns first.
Yeah, just kind of slipping away from Cartel. I mean, I just felt like they weren't able to do the things that they've comp wanted them to do, especially into this Cassidy. I mean, just going nuclear, man. There's just not much to say when there's just like there was multiple times where we just saw like an engagement go in the way of Cartel, and then we talk about it, and then another fight would already be over. So like they were just able to play faster and just a lot cleaner as a team, and so SkyFlock gonna take it in a 3-2 situation, even with Zuya Ajaxing there.
Hey, they still come out on top somehow. Maybe it's a secret. Maybe it's like a secret play for them. They just Ajax and then everything goes their way. But everyone, we're going to throw it over to a quick break. When we come back, I believe we're going to have interviews with not only a member from SkyFlock, our winners, but a member from Cartel there. This was a really incredible series. So everyone, we're going to get that set up. We'll be right back here in a brief moment. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are pleased to be joined by Galaxy, the tank from SkyFlock, your winners in tonight's series. Hey, man, congratulations on the series victory. Congratulations on moving on to the next round here. I just want to ask, you guys played this team in the last week of the regular season. That was a 3-0 victory for you then. Much different here tonight. What was the difference between these two games?
Yeah, hi. The difference. I think it was kind of comp difference and also meta difference because Reaper is too OP right now, and their Reaper players, it's like they only play Reaper Zara proper. So I think it was kind of hard for us to play in this comp because we never scrimmed. We thought we don't have a lot of practice against Reaper Zara, but like right now, I think we understand. It's like on the last map, we got how to play against this, and we just win.
Yeah, I was going to say it did feel like there was something that clicked in your guys' brain because it felt like you guys couldn't really deal with that Zarya Reaper for those first two map losses. And then once that third one came around, I mean, you guys went to Cast, you guys went to Hazard, and then things just changed completely. But I did want to ask, you guys seem to use your bans incredibly well. I mean, you guys took care of that Zarya when you needed to, that Reaper when you needed to, but then in that last map, it was just a Sojourn ban that sealed the fate. And so I do have to ask, right? Like, was there any thought process behind, okay, we got to save this band for a later map, or like, was it just like, okay, this is going to be an issue right now, let's take care of it?
After the first map, we thought it was going to be a really easy win. It was, but anyway, I mean, like, we banned Reaper in the second and lost it, and then we understand that like it's something wrong here because the ban Reapers are and they can easily play with right now. On the last map, we wanted to ban Kiriko, to be honest, but like they banned BAP, so we weren't allowed to ban Kiriko. Then we just banned some like DPS who actually can slide, who actually can avoid our brawl or something. So yeah, so they have to play Emre, and we just like kill Emre every fight. And also we can play Cass, which is actually can ult and just kill Emre. So yep.
Yeah, I do think that your ultra economy was incredibly disgusting to watch. And so now I do have to ask you guys, you guys are still alive, still in this loser bracket run. You guys had an unfortunate start. I mean, you guys went to a map 5 against OCMR, and they are now down here in this lower bracket. And so now I have to ask you guys, what was your guys' mentality, coming in as the undefeated team? Oh no, I'm sorry, they got eliminated by a void list.
Yeah, they forfeited.
yeah, they forfeited. I apologize. So you guys are gonna go against a void list. I apologize. So you guys had a rocky start to this bracket. I mean, coming in as an undefeated team, and now you guys are going to be in this lower bracket going against a void list. What has been the mentality been like? Being down, not where you're really expected.
I don't know. It's like the thing about our mentality when we lost to OCMR. I wanted to fucking, I don't know. It was so surprised. It's like, yeah. And after this, just like, okay, we're in lower bracket, so we have to play what we have with what we have, and just like, we did like good, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we let you go here and we give you that time to give you your shouts, I have one more question for you. You yourself had an incredible series throughout this night here. You started off by having a deathless map on the first map of the game. You ended it off maybe having a really impressive map there on Runasapi. What on your team, or who on your team allows you to kind of play as freely as we were seeing you play throughout the night?
Ooh, I think it's like my support line. I guess Yuzu and Arik also is like peeling me as hard as I can every fight. And then I can play like really aggressive. We always say all our amps or something to play aggressive. So yeah, I think it's my support line. And also it's like everyone in my team playing around me, and then we just play good. I think it's like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, before we let you go, man, I want to give you the time to give any shout outs to anyone or anything you want.
I want to say thank you, team. I love my team, and Cartel. Did you guys?
All right, man. Thank you so much. We're going to come back and celebrate with your team. Again, that was Galaxy, the tank from SkyFlock. They'll be moving on to play a Voidless in the next round of that lower bracket here. But now, as we wait here a brief moment, we're going to be bringing up a player from the other side of Cartel. Hey. Welcome in, man. A great series. Unfortunately, you guys find yourself on the losing end here tonight, Red Master. But again, it was so back and forth here. And I'll ask the same question that I asked Galaxy there. What was the main difference here between the last game of the regular season where you end up playing SkyFlock and this one here?
That's a hard question, to be honest. But I would say I'm assist. It's okay. I'm not complaining. But it's really hard to play against console players. But we're a really good team. We have really good communication and have like a good stuff. I think we can win tournament.
Yeah,
I hope so.
I mean, you guys did play incredibly well. I mean, you guys seemed incredibly powerful. It's just, it went the entire distance. But I do want to quickly ask about Rialto, because Rialto was, I'm going to say, one of the weaker maps from you guys. I mean, every other one went really the distance. But the second that Zarya Reaper composition wasn't able to thrive, it looked a little bit difficult for you guys. And so I want to ask, is there going to be works on different compositions, or is this just Zarya Reaper team through and through going to try to force it on every single map?
No, we worked on also different compositions. We're basically playing with Diva, Lucio, Tracer, but against their team we choose this composition because we thought it's good. And our main idea on Rialto was like give Reaper to short distance with a Widow or something his counts, and we're gonna find peak, but it's not working, and where Widow is really amazing. So I think, I don't know, it's hard to answer because it was like really short time after Rialto. I didn't watch VODs, I didn't think about it. But I think if you're gonna change something, probably we're gonna win.
Yeah, I think that's completely reasonable, and unfortunately your season does end here, but I do have to ask, did you guys maintain the status that you wanted to? What I mean by that is did you guys have the expected results? Did you guys perform better than you thought you would? Were you guys trying to aim for like a top 3, top 4 finish? Or were you guys even just thankful that you guys even got into the playoffs?
Of course our main point was like get top 1. We thought we can, but we need more screens, more practice. The biggest problem, like a lot of our members have also different team, like Tiago Lini, he's playing for national Portugal team, and we also have a lot of scrims, and it's hard to find the time to connect with each other and practice and scrims. But we have like 2 scrims for all season. So maybe that was a big problem. Because if you're gonna screen more, we're gonna have more solutions. We're gonna have more ways to communicate with each other and find some solutions in game.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, those 2 scrims that you guys had throughout the season really did carry you a long way. Again, only 1 loss in the regular season. One of the scariest teams probably to go up against day in and day out here in CGL. But I want to ask you about this. Your season ends here. What's the biggest takeaway from you guys here? And will we see you guys back next season?
Probably we're gonna back. I know. I mean, I love your league. It's a cool experience. Maybe if you can make league a bit shorter, like 2 games per week instead of 1, it's gonna be just better for me, but not for everyone. So you cannot hear me. I'm just player. I love your league. Probably we're gonna back. I hope so.
Hey, I think everyone here at CGL would love to see y'all back. You guys were really fun to watch here tonight. But Redmaster, before we let you go, we want to give you time to shout out anyone or anything you want, man.
I mean, guys, I love you, everyone. Thank you for watching stream. Thank you for playing CGL. You're all amazing. I hope we're gonna see you. Bye bye. Thank you for CGL stuff. You're really good. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you as well, man. We'll let you go and go enjoy the rest of your night. Again, everyone, that was Redmaster from Cartel here. Mega Ninja, it was an incredible back and forth series here. I really could have gone either way there, it seemed, but just SkyFlock comes out on top of this one. But hey, while the action might be ending over here in EU tonight, there is still more action going on across the pond over in NA. And a little bit later, actually about 4 hours from now, a little under 4 hours from now, you'll have Diva taking on Vesuvius at 9, and then Hashira taking on Lindenwood Academy at 10. Those should be 2 really, really fun games there. You are not going to want to miss either one of those.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be on the Hashira Lindenwood Academy stream, so I'm really looking forward to that one. That should be a really good of a banger of a match. I think it's the NA GM game, but no, this has been an incredibly fun series to watch, back and forth throughout every single instant, except for Rialto, of course. But I had a joyous of a time with you, Dexatron, and that made that last interview made my heart full. He said he loved all of us here at CGL, and you know what? I love all you guys too.
Yeah, it was really nice to hear that. But hey, thank you everyone so much for coming out. We saw a lot of support in the chat, but again, there's going to be a lot more playoff action here in EU and especially NA tonight throughout the next week. Make sure you follow us here so you always know when we're going live, because we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of a lot of it. Expect to see some grand finals this coming week. But that'll do it for us here at CGL tonight. Thank you to Hippie and Mara behind the scenes for putting on this production, and thank you all for watching. Make sure you tune in later for more NA action, but until then, hope you have a good night, and we'll see you later.